Welcome to the Intelligent Idea Podcast.
Hey, we in there like swimwear. Hey guys, welcome back to another installment of the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast. Yo, for the week of April 6, 2024.
Yo.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host D.
This is Juice.
This is Frank.
Hey man, we're back for another one. Ladies and gentlemen. Been a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. Man, we can never start on time. Like my B guys. Like we had the 9 o'clock second. It's like 9:45.
The beautiful thing with YouTube is like these videos will be here for years. So like even our children can go back and appreciate conversations that we've had, you know, when they're old enough to actually understand them, and you know.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing.
That's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You know that a truer statement has never been said, but I'm not talking about like us, like, you know, doing this, you know, for the entertainment value or whatever, but like look at like think about like, like this person has a picture of their grandparents from like the 60s, right? You know, like their grandmother from the 60s, super classy, wearing a dress, you know, probably like a real like innocent pose or whatever, posing for a camera. And then it's like you look generations later. Yeah, exactly. But you look generations later and it's like, oh, my grandma has a fucking OnlyFans, and this is how I remember you know, this is how I remember her, you know, and shit like that, right? Like it's just like my grandma was an Instagram thought, you know, some shit, you know, like, and it's like this is how I remember grandma, and it's like fuck, how times have changed, you know. So double-edged sword is right.
Look back in time, almost, you know.
Yeah, man. I always thought those, man, like yeah, even the Instagram thoughts now, they got kids and their kids be like that, Joe. Just they be stunting with their kids in the photos, like, you know. Man, like I always be wondering, like, how is it like to grow up with a hot mom?
This is my pops and this is my grandma. I'm like, yo, grandma.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like, you know, it's like a look back in time, and like the thing with this is like you can actually hear audio and see video from the look back in time, as opposed to like the pictures that Frank is talking about. But you're like, when you're right, when you see an old picture of your grandmother or something, you're like, man, that was 1965. Like, where were they? What was she looking at? You know, like how were times like? You know, now you can see it, and like there's never been a more
like, yo, my great grandmother was thick.
There's never been a more ratchet thing.
Oh Jesus!
It's like my great is like, I mean, and no disrespect to
the thick grandmas out there. I mean, and the gilfs out there.
The people, love. And you know the people on OnlyFans trying to make the money and the hustle. Yeah. More power to you, right? That is your choice. That's your prerogative. That is cool. But it's like
we support you.
But we do. We definitely do. But you think about it like generations from now is like, damn, my grandma is like, you could pay like $6, you could see her whole asshole. $6 a month. She did those PPVs, you know, she showed everything, you know, it's like, what?
Yep. She's out there.
There's never been a more ratchet thing than a girl twerking or doing something sexual with her kid in the background. Like you're like, even if I'm a guy, you're taking me out of the moment right now. Like, get your kid. I can't watch you twerking with your kids right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Or like when they're in the bathroom or something. Like, get out the bathroom. I don't want to see the toilet behind you when you're doing it twerk.
I mean, like, I'm really speaking like, you know, with satire, like satirically, but like, you know, it's not like gonna always be like that. But it's just like the amount of like the way things have changed, like with social media and with how everybody's exposing themselves and like showing like fake sides of themselves, and like everything's great and doctoring the pictures and all of that stuff. So it's like, You know, the
Oh
odds
man,
of something like that
AI.
the odds of right. The odds of
AI is
something
fucking
that
insane.
happening.
Like they're taking people's faces and sticking them on anything.
Yeah.
And anything.
Yeah.
Anything. Anything. Anything, man. Like they're doing it right now as we speak. If there's a thing that somebody's into, and
Well, I mean, what is
you
that
better
rule?
hope they don't know who you are.
What is that rule? What is that rule 34, right? 34. Like
yeah.
if there's something that exists, there is a pornographic
version of it
out
True.
there, right? Literally anything.
Anything.
Everything.
Godzilla X Kong. Anything.
I mean,
hey,
come on. If you look.
Speaking of Rule 34, Godzilla X Kong. Recently, a movie came out.
But that's
normal. You know, Shima was a girl. Shima's female.
That's a normal state of human beings, right? Like people like sex
definitely.
and they have sexual fetishes and pleasures. It's just now that we have technology to spread it. I mean, you see why it's like proliferating into anything. Anything is sexualized. There's a fetish to anything. Horses, animals, bestiality, like
literally everything.
Disgusting
stuff that you would never even. But that's not new. It's just
even something that's not disgusting that you wouldn't even think is a thing. Right. Like I don't know, headbands.
Mm-hmm.
It's out there.
Everything. Literally.
There's something out there for this.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there's
Rule
some
34
stuff
for this
that I never thought I would. You know, maybe this might be another conversation. There's some stuff I've seen I never thought I would be into, but
there's something out there for this.
I'm pretty sure
right
there's
now,
so many things out there for that, dude.
Huh?
There's pretty sure there's so many things out there for that, dude. You could do the math. You could do the math and like literally get to the point where a fidget spinner. There's a Rule 34 for a fidget spinner and the why of it. You know,
but guys. I don't even know if I should bring this up, but recently I heard on one of the streams I was listening to that they arrested a guy who was he was known as the monkey torturer.
What?
Yes. And this guy, what he does is he tortures monkeys. And people are like people are invested in watching him torture monkeys.
Fuck, dude.
It's a whole thing. Like the internet.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
You remember?
I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there because like I don't want
the internet because I mean like they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't do it with just monkeys, man. You know, like talking people. Children.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like I don't even want to go down that that road, but like you know, other animals, like just
it's like a mob mentality, right? Like I mean, I was watching a Gladiator the other day, and like it's kind of the same. People have always had like a propensity for like blood and gore, and you know, remember those videos when somebody get their head chopped off in Iraq, you know?
Yeah.
I watched one. I've never been like a macabre person. I can't watch. I don't do a lot of blood and gore. It just makes me. But I mean, remember what was that site called back in the day? Rotten.com. Remember Rotten.com?
Yeah, I do remember that.
We used to post like beheadings and fucking people on fire and shit. I could never watch a lot of those videos, but I did watch a beheading video once. I was like, oh my god, it's just
It's way cooler on TV. Like it's way cooler in the movie.
Cooler
like
Gladiator. When you did it in Gladiator, that was cool.
It's also that it's not real.
Yeah, it's like that line.
On TV, it's like you know where the line is. You know.
Hang on, just a side question, Frank. Okay, so look, Man of Steel. I was watching Man of Steel. Why did everybody have such a problem with Superman and Zod destroying the city? We knew it wasn't real, right? Like, but we still kind of were like, damn, this is a lot of destruction, you know? Like that movie in particular. It was even Godzilla X Kong has a little bit of that. It's like there's just so much destruction.
A little bit.
So
it's like most of this.
So I think
every scene.
I think it was a combination of things. I think for Man of Steel, it was a combination. There was a combination of things like Zack Snyder, Zack Snyder at the time, like, I don't know, he was like the guy that people love to hate, right? So they wanted to nitpick on whatever they could, and a big thing, two of the biggest things was the destruction of Metropolis, and then him killing Zod, snapping his neck, right? Like, and so like those two things people like harped on constantly. Like, let's be real, like the destruction was definitely excessive, but it's not unexpected for a Kryptonian level fight on Earth.
It was 4 Kryptonians.
There were 4 Kryptonians, yes, but I'm talking, but like with that was just 2 of them, And we're talking about Zod. We're talking about Zod literally adapting by the minute, so he got to the point where.
It bothered me so much more in Man of Steel, all the destruction, but in Godzilla X Kong, I mean, even Godzilla vs. Kong or any Godzilla movie, you're kind of this. It doesn't really. Maybe it's because they're monsters versus 2 Kryptonians in human form who can control the destruction. The monsters don't care about the destruction; they're monsters.
That's true. And I also think on a much simpler level, they're just a lot bigger. Right, they're just a lot big. The creatures are a lot bigger than
They turn around and knock over a building and shit.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. You look at the size and it's like, oh, I expect that to happen, right? Like, I expect like shit to be destroyed just by them walking around. Like, so.
Every time Godzilla appeared in this movie, he fucked something up. I mean, he could have just been. He emerged from the ocean and just damn, that was 2 bridges right there, man. Like, damn, like,
hell yeah.
But it's like I think Man of Steel was a combination of a bunch of stuff. Like, it was just nitpicking just for the sake of nitpicking, because
for instance,
comic fans are now.
Not that the fight wasn't cool. I love the fight, but the level of destruction was just like, man.
It was absolutely excessive. And then just right before that happened, you had the fucking world engine, literally like wiping out the rest of the city, So like Metropolis was decimated. It was burnt to the ground.
Right.
But
you're like,
funnily enough,
millions of people.
Yeah. Like, funnily enough,
isn't there issue that he kind of like, not that he nerfed Superman, because they're all crazy powerful, but like Superman has the, it's written where he saves the day. Right, like that's kind of the thing. Like the stories where he is challenged, he's actually challenged, right, are like the best stories, and I think that's what Snyder was trying to give, right? But you got the purists out there who are like, hey man, why are you making it seem like Superman's having such a hard time here? Yeah, he's Superman. He's our hero. He protagonized his ass out of this.
A lot of people, so that's true. A lot of people,
I mean, it's foolish.
Just didn't seem to understand that, like, this is like Superman just starting out, right? He's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna make mistakes, and again, he's got another Kryptonian that's just as powerful as he is at that point in time, throwing him around, throwing him through the buildings and leveling the city. Because the power is just there, and Superman wasn't really so concerned with saving everyone per se. He was focused on Zod, right? He was focused on stopping him. So like all the other collateral damage that happened, sorry, but I'm still trying to stop this dude. Funnily enough,
they wanted him to like fight Zod and like catch people as they were falling.
Yeah. They wanted him to be the Superman that everyone knows, but like people didn't seem to grasp it. This dude literally just put his costume on like an hour ago. And then
they dropped the world engine in the city. It was like
right. They dropped the world engine around the world.
It's crazy how Metropolis bounced back in Batman.
That's what I was gonna say.
I was like, well, goddamn.
No, like even at the end of Man of Steel, it's like something like that, like destruction like that would take decades.
Yeah, I mean,
but it seemed like 20 minutes later, everything was good. They were fine.
Maybe Superman helped rebuild the city. Maybe Superman. I'll chalk that up to Superman.
Even with Superman, it would take a lot of time. You know, like maybe if he had the Flash would speed things up a little bit. But you know,
I don't know, man.
Well, I think like Frank said, just quickly on Man of Steel, like when you were like Superman just put his costume on an hour ago or whatever, even in BBS, once Batman hit him with that Kryptonian gas or the kryptonite gas, like immediately Batman outshined him as far as hand-to-hand combat,
Oh, yeah.
Like Batman was whooping his ass. Like
Superman never had to fight nobody.
He didn't know how to fight. Yeah, he was just using his strength, so he didn't know. But still, he could have flew out of the city, and I don't know why they didn't do that. Just fly somewhere where there's not a lot of population. I think that would have gotten people to like focus more on the action instead of the destruction.
I don't know if you noticed, but in Justice League, both versions, and Justice League, they literally not Justice League. It was actually BBS and Justice League as well. But in BBS, when they were fighting Doomsday, like there was literally there was like nothing around, and Batman literally said a line in that movie. He says something along the lines of, I'm gonna lead him out to this abandoned part of town so that we can like fight against him. And Superman's like, okay. And so they just go to this empty part of town nobody gives a shit about. It's fucking crumbling anyway. And they put the fight there. And that was literally
isn't that the Dragon Ball Z like when teleport was like, hey, let's go somewhere.
Let's go somewhere else.
Distractions. A quick line. That's all you need. Like it totally takes that edge off of the destruction part,
No, but that was literally a response. Like that line and scene that follows was literally a response to all of the fucking hate and criticism of Man of Steel with the destruction of Metropolis.
Human beings don't like to see human beings dying on mass scale, especially post 9/11. You just like your empathy, your sympathy as a human being, your humanity doesn't allow you to feel good when you see that,
I would have said the same thing if it wasn't for fucking Gaza going on right now. I honestly would have said the same thing, but a lot of people don't give a shit.
They had a line similar to that in Godzilla X Kong, right? Like
no, I said Gaza.
He said Gaza.
Oh,
Palestine in Israel in fucking 40,000. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of mass destruction,
I was talking to somebody from an African I work with, man. I was like, he was talking the same thing, Gaza and all these wars going on in Ukraine, and I'm like, man, just we're blessed that we're in America where we don't have to see stuff like that. I mean, it's just terrible. Think of simple car bombings and fucking drone strikes. That's unthinkable here. You know what I mean? And it's like there's people living that day to day. You don't know if you're gonna die from the sky. You right? Like you mind your business going grocery shopping and a fucking car blows up. Like that's you have to feel for that. So
yeah, man,
it sucks, man. It's like because most people there are just trying to live their lives. They don't care about America on a political scale. They're trying to live, take care of their children, eat food.
Yep.
I don't know.
Man, it's crazy.
But didn't they have a quick line in Godzilla X Kong about them going? Well, first of all, they were in Hollow Earth, right? Because they almost made it through to the human world, but they didn't get through the portal, right? Didn't they stop them before they got to the portal?
Hold on. Let's get into it though. Like I think we should let's get into it now. Like we kind of made the rounds.
This is why we do 4-hour podcasts, because it's been 20 minutes and we haven't touched on it. I feel like
right. So you guys want to like go around and give your give your initial thoughts about the movie, like how you felt about it, whatever, and I guess your stars, like what out of 10, Yeah,
man. You want to start? Who wants to start?
10. Yeah. I mean, I can start.
Go for it.
All right, say draw straws.
You want to go start? You want to start, D?
Good.
Okay, yeah, I'll start. All right, cool. So Godzilla X Kong, I thought was a fucking fun movie, man. I think if anything, it was a fun movie. Like it was action all the way through. Like there were no slow parts. Like even at the very intro of the movie, you got a fight with Scylla and Godzilla. Where that motherfucking monster popped. Like that was cool. Then he jumped to the fight with Tiamat, and then you got into the fight with Godzilla fighting Tiamat. Then you got him in the Coliseum, just chilling. And then you got Kong, and he's out here. He's setting traps. He's like, running. He's running the gamut on, like, he's ruling down there in the Hollow Earth. Like, kaiju fights. This was a fun, action-packed movie. Like, and I think as far as kaiju fights go, man, like, maybe I have a low bar, because like I guess I have nostalgia. Let me say that. Like, I grew up watching, Godzilla fighting in the rubber suits, right? So this, for me, again, and I feel like you get it every time, but it's kind of like, oh, this is like a dream come true, seeing these fights like this. Seeing the energy and the energy blast, the attacks, and like the way to develop the story, right? Like I think the story was pretty good. Like I felt like there was a couple moments I felt like relieved for Kong, like I feel like Kong got a good hero story, like he came in, he saved his people, he did what he had to do, and he comes back riding the white dragon, so it's like I feel like Kong. I honestly, let me say this, I felt a lot more for Kong in this movie than I did in Godzilla versus Kong. Like in Godzilla versus Kong, like I know it kind of felt like it was centered around Kong, right? A lot of it, because Godzilla is generally just a force of destruction. There's not a whole lot of story with Godzilla other than I'm about to fight you or it or something. Like if there's something here, I gotta fight it. That's kind of it with Godzilla. But for Kong, like, you're right. We followed the story, but even in the last one, I was like, well, okay, man. Like, good luck, I guess.
He just seemed like another obstacle. Like it was obstacle versus obstacle, and which one would move first. So
this one, I felt like Kong had more
it was
stakes.
Definitely way more focused on him. Kind of like humanizing him or making him more relatable, like letting us know he's the hero. So I agree with that. Yeah.
So like, I guess like to wrap all this up. Wait, also let me say the monster designs were dope. Tiamat looked dope. Even I'm mad they killed it so early, but it looked dope. Fucking fucking goddamn it, Scar King. I love this thing. he was ridiculous. Like, oh my god, he was cocky as hell. So I enjoyed that. He was a good. I wanted to know more about him. Like, to me, I wanted to know how you got here, son. Like, you ain't. Yeah, you see, he ain't like the rest of them. How'd you get here, son? Like, I know you read the little red little babies running around.
How are you smart enough to control Shiva?
Yeah. What's up?
How did you figure that out?
Yeah. Like, what's all this about? Like, I wanted to know more about Scar King. But I guess he still is a villain, and the same with Ghidorah, right? You gotta have these great villains. Ghidorah was a fucking amazing villain, man. Like, Godzilla King of the Monsters was a beautiful fucking like movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, and it's just like, but you gotta fucking mark the villains in the end.
You sure do.
You got it. Can't let that one get away. He can't be doing it. Ghidorah can't be doing dastardly schemes later and shit. Like, that's gonna be a fucking problem. That's gonna be the world. But like I definitely feel like I like the movie, man. So out of 10 stars, let me think. Like for me to give a 10, it's gotta be a lot. I give it a cool 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
8.5. Let me go to 8.5. I want to say no, 8.5. I'm gonna leave it a cool 8.5. Yep.
Yeah.
And hey, let me just say, of course, the humans were fucking irrelevant. Oh, last part. I did like fucking Bernie. Like for me, Bernie was probably the best. I don't want to say actor, but he was the best like human character for me in the movie.
He was funny in the first one. In the first guy,
he was one of the first one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was. Yeah, it was definitely funny. I just watched the first one this afternoon. Godzilla vs Kong, and he was like, yeah, like this guy is the only seemingly relevant person, or maybe not relevant, but like
relatable.
Maybe relatable, yeah. Like, so yeah. Everybody else though. I hated the guy. All right, I'm done. I hated that guy. Oh my god,
Trapper.
Oh my yes,
the guy. With
I hated this dude.
Okay.
I don't know why, but like, stop. Just stop. Stop knowing things you have no business knowing. You're a dentist and you do what? Yeah. Stop. Why do you know about this hidden project? Why? You're a dentist. You can do what? Stop. Why do you know that these monsters can change colors?
Hey, Juice. He was
How can you leave the monsters that change colors to do shit for? All right. So he just needed to stop. But other than that,
he was a veterinarian, movie, man. Right? Come on.
Huh? He's a veterinarian?
He was a vet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You're right.
He still had no business knowing all that shit. Like, what the hell?
Fuck, you know this.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I give it a cool. Let me say 8.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, work.
All right, D.
Let me go. Go next.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the movie. Godzilla X Kong. All right, so definitely the visuals were cool. I don't know if it's the coolest kaiju movie out there. I initially felt after I got out of the theater, I liked the first Godzilla vs Kong a little better than Godzilla X Kong. There was a lot of things like halfway through Godzilla X Kong, I was like, what is this movie about? Okay, because like, where is the marriage between Godzilla and Kong? Because it's not Godzilla vs Kong, it's Godzilla X Kong, right? So Godzilla didn't have much to do in this movie. He was just kind of there, I mean, he went around and took out a few kaiju here and there in the beginning, but there was no reason. This could have been Skull Island 2 with a cameo by Godzilla, at the end,
Interesting.
Scar King, I don't even know where I don't even know where he came from. Like, I thought he was a little too acrobatic, like as far as ninja type. He knew how to fight too much. I wish he would have been a little more animalistic. And
I think that's because they resemble orangutans, right? Like, so
yeah, so he would move differently. Yeah, but he was like using the whip and using the weapons, and even I like the way they handled when Kong got his axe in the first movie. He wasn't like an official axe, like he wasn't throwing the axe and doing all this cool. I mean, he was using the tool as you think a monkey would know how to use a tool, right? Like they use sticks in real life, and but it wasn't a part of him. I mean, this guy had was he enhanced somehow? Like, how did he know how to use this whip like that? And maybe I'm thinking
questions we all have, right? Like, I mean, imagine if a guy came into a community of like, I don't know, monkeys, right? and you have tools and you have know-how and you have knowledge. How long before you start ruling? How long before between when Scar got there to when he began ruling these other gorillas or monkeys? I don't know. Questions we have.
Well, the other question though is like, I don't think Scar came from anywhere. I think he was just there. He was just there with everyone else. Like they probably discovered the place at the same time. It's just maybe Scar is special.
Took over, right?
Way, so he was able to take over because he was probably smarter than all the others.
They never actually explained or touched on what they were trying to do. Like, what was that community doing? Because when we saw them, they were just collecting rocks. It's like, what were they trying to. That's what I said. They didn't clearly explain what was at stake in this movie, besides Kong finding his people. Which that's what I said. It could have been Skull Island Part 2 as opposed to Godzilla X Kong. I thought like their relationship, the way they kind of bounced off each other, was the story was a little more well told in the first one. Like Godzilla wanted Kong because it's an alpha thing. He has to, once Kong leaves the Skull Island containment facility or Skull Island, Kong's going to come for him because Kong has to show dominance, or Godzilla has to show dominance. I'm sorry. But in this movie, it's like, I don't know. I didn't hate the movie. I'm not saying I hated it. It's just I didn't understand the story as much. The visuals were definitely dope. How can you not like Kong appearing next to the freaking pyramids in Giza with a bionic hand coming up, onto the sand? And of course, that shit looked fucking dope. I just didn't know what they were trying to do is the issue I had. But everything else was cool, man. Like Godzilla, they didn't explain what was the charge up thing about? Like, why did he turn pink? I guess he absorbed the energy from that.
The pink monster.
Yeah. But what was the pinkness? I guess I'm looking too deep into it. I don't know. Maybe you're not supposed to go that deep into it. It's just you got to suspend your disbelief. Obviously, it's a movie about a giant ape and Godzilla. So you got to suspend disbelief.
Franco here cackling.
Yeah, and so just I guess for me to wrap up. I mean, we're not done talking about it, but I liked it. I think I liked the first one a little better just because of the story. Obviously there was cool parts in the movie. Star King is definitely dope. I wouldn't mind if he came back. Actually, I think he was a good foil for Kong. And
he ain't coming back.
Nah, he ain't coming back. Yeah. And then at the end, that big kaiju that Kong was riding, I don't see that kaiju letting Kong ride him, or even Scar Kings. Like, I feel like that fucking kaiju, I forget the name of it, but it fucking it damn near burned off Kong's hand. Like, I could fuck you up if I want to. You're not gonna get on my back and ride me, Godzilla, if that thing is on par with Godzilla's not letting anybody ride him. He's not letting Kong or Scar King ride him.
Right.
You ride? What the fuck is that? Yeah. So I think for final score, IMDb gave it a 6.6. I usually tend to agree with IMDb. I think I'll give it a 7. I'll go a little bit higher than them. I wasn't bored. I was never bored. I just didn't understand what are they trying to accomplish in this goddamn movie? What's happening? And that guy was annoying. The guy who just knew everything because he was trying to be the funny, smart guy. And it just didn't land a lot of times to me. I never thought in this movie, like you said, the humans were irrelevant, but I kind of missed the human element a little bit. I thought they did a better balance in Kong versus Godzilla, the human element, because they were there and they were involved in the story, but they didn't really. The action was
every time the humans came up, I got bored though. No.
Yeah. And there was no surprises in this movie. Like, it wasn't like Mecha Godzilla emerging from that mountain, blasting everything in half and just killing indiscriminately. Like, that moment, and when Mecha Godzilla actually burst out,
you weren't like surprised to see the fucking ice dragon hidden under the waterfall of lava?
Not really. I was more surprised about Scar King. I was like, what are they doing? Like, what is he trying to get them to do? What is he trying to get them to accomplish in this movie? Like, what was he trying to? Why was he ruling them? What were they doing? They were just there, just existing. Why did they attack Kong when he first appeared? Like, to them, he's like, they tried to jump him. Like, why? He's one of you. I love the way Kong showed dominance there. Like, he fucked them up and was like, "Yo, take me to your leader." You know what I mean? Yeah. And then the little kid, Kong.
Oh, and then he was trying to give niggas chance, man. Like, I'm sorry, dude. I was feeling for Kong.
He caught the one that fell over the cliff. Like, I don't want to kill you. Like, I finally found you.
Yeah. But this nigga Kong was also like, you get one chance. Like, oh, what? Yeah. He Spartan kicked this nigga off the edge of that.
They're animals, bro.
Yeah,
do you like Kong's bionic hand? I'm looking at the trailer right now, man. I like the hand. I like it.
Oh man, I fucking pulled these images and shit. I ain't even fucking showing nothing.
But I feel like if he's gonna have the hand, he doesn't need to axe. We don't need to like,
nope, both.
I
Need
don't
both.
know. I
Why
like
not
Kong
both?
being primal.
Why
I like
not
him
both?
being primal. Like,
He's weak. He's weak compared to Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's weak.
He needs those advantages.
He needs tools.
Maybe they can do like a gauntlet where it projects a shield so he can still block Godzilla's blast. You know,
All right, that's too much.
I mean, come on. Like,
The Captain America joke. He gonna throw it.
It's like
Kong got to throw the Captain America shield.
Yeah. I like how they explained it though. And he had like the tooth infection at the beginning, and then they showed how the vet would come and implant the tooth, and that explains his hand later on. And he just had that equipment on hand. He just had equipment to put a bionic hand on Kong. You know, like, why the hell? This guy know
He just
so much?
had that shit on hand, man. I was like, yo, what the fuck?
That dude was an engineer. He was a vet. He knew all the history of the tribes and
He was
shit.
like, I just happen to have a spare Kong tooth here.
Yeah.
For the right fang, for the exact one he needed. Like, look at it. Why
I
are you
guess
here?
you got to suspend your disbelief, man. I like the visuals, man. These movies look like $1 million, man. Legendary, that's the production studio behind this. They have a reputation now at this point. Like most of their movies are good. Most of them, whatever's done by Legendary, you know. If you see that title come up at the beginning of a movie, you're like, okay, this is going to be visually good. Because they did all the
that shit, man.
They did all the Underworld movies. I don't know. Yeah, they just got a reputation there, man. I don't know who's winning, Godzilla or Godzilla -1. Godzilla.
Godzilla.
I would say this Godzilla.
Godzilla -1.
Oh, I doubt it. He wasn't nowhere near.
Wait, you mean in a fight?
Yeah, in a fight.
Godzilla.
Well,
Godzilla.
Yes, clearly.
In a fight? Like, look at this nigga. Like, he was...
That poster makes no fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
That poster makes no goddamn sense.
It makes more sense to me now that I've seen it.
No. I'm talking about their size. They're not that fucking big. Like, come on, guys.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see the helicopters. Wait, they're not though?
No.
They're not. They're definitely not clouds big. But they're about that size of the fucking helicopters.
Maybe they're in a valley or something, you know.
Nah, well, I don't think so. It looks like they're above the clouds.
Well, yeah, no, they're not fucking.
They're not taller. They're not much taller than buildings. Buildings. You know,
they were walking around shoulder height to buildings in Hong Kong and shit. But all right, Frank, yo, what's up, man? All right, what you got,
bro? I like the bionic.
Well,
hand.
no, you didn't rate it.
Oh yeah,
rate it,
yeah. So I think I gave it about a 7.
Oh, 7. Okay, that's right. Okay. All right. I did not like this movie at all.
At all?
No.
Okay.
So here are my problems with this movie. So D, your review was fire. I agree with pretty much everything you said, right? There was a lot of the movie which made zero sense. A lot also like logically, right? And yes, we're talking about a movie with a giant fucking ape and a giant dinosaur. But like I'm talking about like if they wanted to make a movie with some kind of flow with the plot, they failed miserably here. I also agree with what you said that it seemed like they wanted to make Skull Island too. Like that's exactly what it seems like they wanted to do, but it seems like they failed doing it. So they marketed it as another Godzilla versus Kong movie, because most of the movie, also like you said, D, was Kong. Godzilla was not in it a lot at all. Like he had his fights, but his fights were 5 fucking seconds long, and then you skip to the humans doing their human bullshit, and then you focus more on Kong doing Kong stuff in Skull Island, or you know whenever he encounters the Scar King apes or orangutans or whatever. one of the dumbest things that this movie did was the part with the tooth, right? They literally wrote that in there just to establish a character that magically had all of the equipment and all of the knowledge in order to install the prosthetic tooth. And then it graduated to a prosthetic arm. And then it graduated to him knowing a little bit about the flora and the fauna in the islands that when they were on it. Another really dumb thing was the whole plot with the little girl and that whole thing with her being bonded to the island, and she for some reason she's still the only one that knows how to communicate with Kong, even though she's just using ASL. And that entire plot thread just was unnecessary. Just get it the fuck out of here. Now to the monster stuff. Yeah, cool. Visually impressive, really big fights. Godzilla, I would have liked to have seen more Godzilla do his thing, but he was in the movie for like 10 minutes. And then going to Kong, now I'll give respect to Kong. Kong did his thing, but of course the movie was focused more on him because, again, I think this should have been Skull Island too, but they just didn't want to, they didn't want to call it that. Kong did his thing. Kong gave the chances to the little Kong. You could also tell that the whole little Kong thing was corporate interference with whatever they may have wanted to write into this movie. That little Kong, again, didn't fucking need to be there. Like we were already vibing with Kong of what he was doing, right? Like it could have been a solo story of him discovering the new island with the orangutans, and then coming across the Scar King, and then whatever. The little Kong absolutely did not need to fucking be there. That they were trying to make us, I guess, sympathize with Kong, maybe look at him as more of a patriarchal figure, or give him more compassion. But I think we were already on that level of compassion. So what they were trying to do there was unnecessary. They could have used that energy, that creative energy, towards something else. Maybe putting more Godzilla into the movie. Now, the end of the movie was fire, right? The last battle was really fucking good. Mm-hmm. But just like a whole lot of other shitty movies like it, they fucking put the best part at the end to convince you that you saw a good movie when we had 90 minutes of trash before that. And then the end is great. And you're like, yo, that movie was mad good, son. Nah, this movie was not good. The end was great, but we had to suffer through the 90 minutes of garbage. Like the pacing was horrible. Visually, yes, the movie was impressive, but the pacing was terrible. They were jumping around so much between the humans and then Kong and then Godzilla with his 5 seconds, and then back to the humans. But they wanted to focus more. They didn't seem to know if they wanted to focus more on the humans or Kong, because the humans nobody gave a shit about. But the humans speak English, and the humans are supposed to be relatable to us. So they straight up said, like, okay, let's maybe try to give them equal share. But no one cares about the fucking humans in this movie, and rightfully so, because it was a mess. Like, it was every single one of them. It was just a fucking mess. Like, I would say Bernie, he was cool, but he was like straight up comic relief, and he had zero depth, right? And maybe you don't want to expect a lot of depth from these human characters, but if you want to make us relate to them, give them some sort of depth. Give them some sort of thing where we can say, like, hey, that makes sense, or hey, I see why they would do that, or why they would think that, or why they have this plan, instead of coming out of nowhere saying, like, oh man, yo, Kong's arm is fucked up. Wait a minute, I remember this thing that happened in the 70s that they were working on, and we happen to be in the exact spot in the exact place where this thing was being worked on.
And he had the vehicle that he used for the tooth there in Hollow Earth. I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't Kong on the surface?
Well,
so
I
like,
think did he go? I thought he went back for that. Like,
I thought he went to the destroyed facility that was down there.
Yeah.
Monitoring station.
So I like, yeah, I didn't like the movie at all. I thought Godzilla versus Kong was better. To me,
Godzilla -1 definitely had the better human story.
Oh, absolutely, 100%,
yeah,
100%. But I would also I would say comparing Godzilla versus Kong to Godzilla X Kong, like Godzilla versus Kong to me was better, although it seemed like they were a little confused in Godzilla versus Kong as far as like, you know, who they wanted to have the spotlight, but it wound up going towards Kong, making him like the hero. And again, vibing with Kong here in this movie, but like, nah, like a lot of Kong's, the elements of Kong's story could have been completely eliminated, completely left out. Again, the tooth. Why? Just so you could have this fucking character that nobody fucking likes or cares about to come in just to create this plot thread all the way to getting his arm.
They had to plant the seed of you getting his arm. How's he going to get the arm? Who installs it? Who puts it on?
I mean, he lived like he's like one. But keep going. Go on.
No. Well, say what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
No. I was gonna say like it's kind of established that like the primates, like they even talked about it in the movie, like the primates, the great apes lived alongside the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have always kind of had a I guess symbiotic or some kind of cohabitated relationship with the people. And when people get technology, right, they just shows that Kong only being there because of people, because of the humans got him there, and they're monitoring him, they're keeping a track on him, they're kind of taking care of him while he's out there, right? That he would have
to go there. He knew to go there when the tooth was hurting, you know.
Yeah, that's where he went to, right? Like that's their relationship. So it makes sense that he would, if they have technology, right, that he would use their technology, right? That's why they even let him. That's why they even left it on him, right? He didn't tear the arm off, right? He could have. They were saying, but he left it on because he was going to use it.
So that still goes back to the point of this should have been a Skull Island 2, right? Like that, something like that plot thread makes more sense with a Skull Island 2, where it's completely just focused on Kong and about his history with the symbiotic relationship with the humans and about how
Skull Island is destroyed.
Skull Island is destroyed.
And also they are in Hollow Earth and
it could have been Hollow Earth.
Sorry, I don't I'm not this movie so we can debate, god damn it.
Okay. I'm gonna give this movie a 4.
Okay.
4. Because this movie I think there was a good movie in there somewhere. I really do. But like I don't know, for some reason I was watching it and I was like seeing it with the eyes of like, I'm like, oh God, like this is where Bill from marketing thought it would be a good idea to put this in the movie, or you're seeing like, again, like that really bothered me, like the plot, like the tooth to the fucking arm, like it was literally just written in there just so Kong could have the fucking arm put on him.
I'll concede 2 points off break, right? 2 points off break. 1, the pacing was bad. You're right.
It was terrible.
That's just how it was.
Terrible.
Right. This is it. And then 2, like the idea that arm was just there, just ready to go, fit for blah blah blah. Yeah, that
And
was fucking ridiculous.
and
Like
I
again,
and,
that
and by
guy
extension,
was annoying, and they put too much on him.
they
They
did.
could have mentioned the arm in a fucking side conversation or some kind of. They could have done other things to bring up that they have technology for.
Was
Kong.
the arm really necessary? No,
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind the arm.
I didn't mind it either.
I feel like it
I
gave
don't
him an
mind
edge.
my
But
Kaiju
was it
being powered up.
necessary?
I don't mind.
But was it necessary? I'm talking about in the grand scheme of things, right?
No, he could have just
Like,
used that.
He could have just used the axe. And
Well, his arm was fucked up. So in a way, the armor was kind of like a support for his arm.
His arm was fucked up, but
Like he couldn't be out there fighting them with a fucked up arm.
He could fight them with the other arm with the axe. Right, Godzilla could have came. He had another arm.
Fucking Godzilla, son.
Working arm, and Godzilla could have came in and helped him. Like, dog, I got you. Put him
That's
on
why
his shoulder.
I'm saying, like,
dog,
Godzilla
I'll be your left arm.
Godzilla's not fucking with Kong, son. Like he's not.
Yeah, whoa, hold on, dude. Godzilla was saved by Kong in the last movie, and they came to. There was a visual.
You saw what Godzilla when Kong popped out that motherfucker twice. Godzilla was like, "I gotta go kill this nigga." The first time when Kong came out to get his tooth fixed, they would have got to hurry the fuck up because Godzilla could smell this nigga.
Yeah,
you gotta get him out of here. The second time when he popped up in in Egypt, Godzilla was like ready. He was like, "Oh, you the nigga I gotta fight. Let's go. I recognize you, and I don't give a fuck."
That
like
part was
Godzilla
funny to me because Kong was like, "Yo, chill."
Yeah, I was like, "Yo, chill." Godzilla was like, "Fuck."
I was about to say they could have just had a cameo with like Godzilla showing up to save Kong, but you're right. Godzilla didn't give a fuck about Kong. He's like, "Yo,
he's like, wait.
Look, remember when Godzilla saved Kong in the last movie? I just watched it. Godzilla saved Kong in the last movie. Kong just beat. He made him drop the fucking axe before he turned around and left. Because Godzilla would have fucked him up if he thought he could stand up.
Yeah, Godzilla was so fucked up. He was like, "Yo, all right, you dropped it. All right, we good, man. I'll be back, man."
I'll be back. I'm tired right now. Fuck around, though.
Godzilla got his ass kicked.
I will.
That first movie, bro.
And can you refresh my memory real quick? Y'all said you just saw the first movie recently. Okay. Well, do you remember how Kong got the axe?
He found it.
Yeah, that she was just fucking sitting there in the skull of some like creature just sitting in the cave.
I thought it was a Godzilla or maybe one of those little snake monsters, the flying snakes that attacked him or something.
No.
Okay. So
it's actually one of those
monsters. He found it in nature, and he I guess he figured that he could use it as a weapon.
No. It was remember he found the cave. He found a place where these people were. And it was just in the ground, already tied up, already weaponized and everything. And it was just like in the skull of like some other dead creature. And he just picked it up, was like, "It's mine now." Threw it on his shoulder and sat down on the throne.
So thinking about that, right? Like just a quick aside, but thinking about that, right? Like to me, like that makes a lot more sense as far as like him getting a weapon. It's kind of like something out of like God of War, right? Where it's like every single time Kratos gets a new weapon, it's like an event, right? It's like something that makes sense to the plot, to the progress of the story. Whereas this maybe not so much, but to me it seemed more organic. It seemed more natural that it's something. You said it was already tied up. It was already weaponized. So I think it makes you start thinking like, how did it get there? Who used it before?
Yeah. You're curious.
It definitely makes you curious, right? And then it's like my whole point is about the arm again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like they just give him this arm, and his arm is fucked up. They needed a reason to like have him have this new prosthetic. Mm-hmm. Again, plot thread with the one character, but like they just give him this arm. It's just like it was just convenient that like this arm was already made, you know.
Well, it was convenient that the axe was just sitting there when he walked in.
So again, but it's the method. It's like the method of delivery.
They needed a way for him to be able to contend with Godzilla's blast, which he found a shield and a weapon that could put him on par with to at least be able to keep up with Godzilla because there's
Correct.
nothing he can do about the blast.
Hey, and remember,
Now
Scar
I found the
King,
axe that I can block
that fucking axe was not a fucking like issue for Scar King.
right.
Like this nigga didn't give a shit about the axe. This
Why was
nigga
Scar
fucking
King
whipped that
so
shit out
well
his hand
trained?
real quick.
Scar King was very well trained. I'm like, where did you come from? We need a little bit of your
Bro,
origin.
I got questions, man.
Where are you? Why are you so much more leveled up than all these other apes around?
Why are you red? Why do your eyes glow like that?
Frank brought
Their
up
eyes don't glow like his
girl.
eyes glow.
Frank brought up the little.
Why can he use that crystal?
Yeah.
Right.
Questions like, what the
Where
fuck
the
is
hell
that
did he
crystal?
get the crystal? You know what I mean? Like, how did he put this weapon together? You know. Anyway, so look, he found Frank brought up the little Iwi girl. I didn't mind their little psychological connection or whatever it was, their little symbiotic connection, because remember there was a scene where the Iwi people were they picked up like a boulder that was like 5 tons, right?
Yeah.
And who was the guy? The black guy explained why they were able to pick it up. It was something with reversing gravity.
It's gravity.
So they kind of had like a relationship with the energy around them, you know. So maybe
also remember they didn't talk at all.
Yeah,
they didn't. They were telepathic completely.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought I didn't necessarily mind that part, but I see what you're saying. Like the little girl didn't need to be there. Like, what was she doing?
The little girl didn't need to be there. The main character, the scientist, she didn't need to be there. I mean, even Bernie didn't really need to be
the guy who flew them in didn't need to be there either. Didn't get died in like 2 seconds. But
he didn't need to be there. And Trapper, unfortunately, he was the actual person that needed to be there in order to further that shitty plot thread.
But even he didn't need to be there because that fucking could have been that could have been panned out through a story, like through side comments, through any number of conversations. All those things could have been panned out. But
I feel like the arm is disposable, right? His main weapon, is that. You know, the arm will probably get destroyed next movie.
I also feel like the arm, again, it helped, and I didn't mind it, but like it was absolutely, to me, unnecessary. Like
I would have liked to see him reclaim his axe to be able to go up against Scar King. Like the arm didn't impact the fight really at all, you know?
No.
I want to say, like, you guys both said that you felt like this should have been like you didn't understand like why all this was happening. Am I getting that right? Like you guys said, like why are we?
What were they trying
to? We understand that he's there to save his people that he found, but you're saying that why didn't he? What was that argument again?
At least. Like not save his people because they were already existing without him. He discovered them, so he's discovering his people. But I think where it fell, like the whole plot kind of fell apart for me when they found the civilization of apes, and they were just kind of meandering around, picking up boulders, and what were they trying to do? You know, because Kong came in, like Godzilla's already not in the movie, so we don't know what the hell he's doing. Kong comes in, finds his people.
They were slaves. They were slaves to the Scar King, but what were they doing?
I thought that's where the plot fell apart. It's like, why? So Kong comes in, picks a fight with Scar King. Makes sense. They're both dominant. But like, what were the people doing that Kong wanted to?
But is that like relevant?
It's supposed to be, yes.
What is they're doing relevant?
Yes, because why would Kong pick a fight with the alpha of this?
Because they were about to fuck up a monkey that he didn't think needed to be fucked up.
No,
he stepped in to protect somebody.
And that's fine, but for all we know, that's how shit occurs in their natural habitat, in their natural world. So Kong maybe should have just like left it alone for a little bit. Right, because we're just walking in there with Kong and we're making all these assumptions, you know, just because
Kong,
maybe this is the way it's supposed to be.
They missed.
I don't think so because we understand they have a civilization.
Right. And
So
maybe this
at
is
that
maybe
moment,
maybe all right. Maybe this is Kong coming in with his fucking liberal ass ideologies and shit.
Right.
yeah,
But it doesn't matter
Yeah,
because his
That's
liberal
what
ass
I'm saying.
ideology is like, yo, you're not about to fucking kill this monkey here. I'm not gonna let you do that. That's
hey,
it
I
though.
thought all y'all,
But
I
that's
thought all y'all
it.
niggas was dead. I
And
thought all
that's
y'all niggas was
fine.
dead, man.
No, and that's fine. But again, we don't know. Again, we don't know the rules.
They missed the chance.
They didn't tell us the rules of this.
They missed the chance for
They don't-
character development,
they didn't know the
background
rules.
story on
They didn't-
Scar King, and
No,
what they
no.
were doing.
No. There, of course, there are rules because Scar King is the leader.
That's
How
the
do
rule.
you ascend there?
That is a rule, but that is a rule by force. That is
Yes.
a rule by force. That is a rule
Because he's
by
stronger.
force. That is,
At that moment,
that is a rule by
at that
force.
moment,
maybe
instead of
Scar
having
King-
them,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, man. At that moment, instead of having them immediately fight, maybe have Kong kind of scope out the scene
Yes.
and like take a few minutes to let's
some
see
time.
what's going on here. You
Take
know,
some time because, like, yo, I'm sorry, but like, these are animals, right? This is
So
nature.
what animal, what gorilla is gonna roll up into a new? Look, all right. So I'm
I
thinking
don't
like
mind
this,
them
right?
immediately fighting because that's how
Kong is
animals
a
are.
hero, right? The
They're
same reason.
animalistic.
Look, this is all the same reason.
Kong
The
is a
same. It's the
hero.
same reason he tried to give the other monkey a chance before he kicked him off Sparta kicked him off the edge. It's the same reasonings. It's the same logical conclusion. So he rolls up in here,
Kong
seeing
is a
that, like,
hero.
look, I'm here now. What the fuck's going on? What's up? What's up with all this? Hey guys, I'm here. What's up?
So
And he
okay,
sees some shit about to go down. He's like, whoa, no.
right there. It doesn't matter. He's still making assumptions. It's still making assumptions. Maybe this is the way things are. They did not give us a chance to establish the rules of this place. Maybe
There
he was about to get murked. Maybe that's just the way shit is.
there was a scene. There was a scene where
the Scar King didn't do anything. To me, the Scar King didn't really do anything like that aggressive for Kong to start just attacking. Yeah, another one of the people was gonna get killed.
Yo, he threw the fucking monkey into the lava.
Yeah, but they've been here for thousands of years.
And it was his homies. It was his homies, like mother or something.
Listen to what D just said. Listen to what D just said, though.
What do you say?
What are the rules of this place? Like, what are the laws? Like, they're already here. They have a civilization.
They were there with an established civilization. Maybe whatever happened was part of the rules of that civilization. And then Kong comes in and starts just wrecking shit just because he sees one thing.
Question. Did Kong know anybody from his civilization beforehand?
No,
he did. No, he did. He did.
And see what's going
he had
on.
parents.
Oh, well, yes.
So he has an idea of how things operate. He lived with the people. He lived in a relationship with those people on Skull Island at the other place.
He didn't live with them.
He said Skull Island.
It doesn't matter. He's coming. You were right. He is coming up with his own. He's coming in with his own presuppositions. Yes, I agree with that. Now, do we expect him, being the bestial protagonist of this movie, to come in and not act off of his instinct?
Of course, he's gonna act.
Like, Kong doesn't scope shit out. Like, he's not gonna. He doesn't. He hasn't. He hasn't.
But you figure he would when he finds a whole
ran right up to Godzilla off break, son. He got his ass beat, but he does. That's what he does.
Right.
They said in Godzilla vs. Kong that Kong's parents were killed when Kong was young. Right? They were killed by the Skull Leaders. So he's never seen anybody from his species until this moment. So his parents. Like, maybe like instead of just showing Scar King off the break, they should have had a moment where, like, you remember, you don't have, not all communication is verbal, right? When they had the small Kong, we got the whole sense that Kong wanted the small Kong to eat. He tried to give him some of the animal that he killed. You know, we got what they were trying to convey. So maybe instead of Kong going in there and trying to wreck shop off the break, and this is not Kong's fault, because I would expect him to act bestially versus they have to show dominance. Like, you don't let another dominant male roll into your territory, right?
I don't think we've gotten that from Kong so far, though.
They shouldn't. I think
up to this point we've had Kong show examples of benevolent behavior.
They shouldn't have shown Kong
constantly, regularly.
they shouldn't have shown Scar King so early. They should have let Kong come in, walk around, see some of the other apes, see how they're interacting. What are they doing? Like, let him walk up to the Scar King and just take 5 or 10 minutes to establish, well, what are we doing here? Who rules this place? Well, you got to go talk to him, you know?
I agree that in nature, right? Like there's an alpha, and I agree that in nature. Yeah, he's back. I agree that in nature there's an alpha, right? And then you know, you have someone like Kong coming in, and that challenges the alpha. But the purpose of that is to become the alpha. To become the alpha. And now we know going in, that's not what Kong wanted. Kong was just happy to see others, you know, like him. But
that's how shit turned out.
But it turned out that way, sure, right? And
okay.
it might have seemed that, like, you know, it might have seemed what's the word I'm looking for, but that he didn't want to do it, but like it happened anyway. But like at the same time, destiny. But like at the same time, like I think to a point, again, Kong's walking in there, and I think they could have handled that. I think it could have handled that entire interaction differently, right? They didn't give us time to sympathize with the civilization, to even get to know the civilization.
Were they unhappy? You know, like, you know,
were they happy or unhappy? You know, just because based on the looks on their face, because they were working hard, we assume. Again,
we did see that they had categories. There were tiers. We saw that.
Yeah, we did see that.
So he had enforcers, and you had grunts.
So that means that there was some sort of government, like that was established, right?
And then the king came down.
So to the point of Kong coming in with the liberal ass preconceptions.
It's liberal ass preconceptions, man.
And starting to
social justice warrior.
If one of them got killed, maybe it's just the nature of things, right?
He ain't having that.
He ain't having that, but it's not his place to make that decision.
He also didn't give a fuck.
It's okay. So you agree then? Because
I agree that Kong's behavior is aligned with Kong.
It is aligned with Kong.
Okay.
But doing what he did, it seemed to me
started some shit.
It seemed to me, yes, it started to. And it seemed to me that
exactly what we needed to progress the movie.
Thank you.
Yes.
Nonsense.
That's not what
nonsense.
We just went through why it happened. Why was that nonsense? How else would it have happened? They're not gonna play chess.
Why it happened? We went through why it happened. But does that mean it makes sense? Does it mean that it makes sense for this fucking ape to come in and say like, oh shit, I didn't like what you did over there, so I'm gonna fucking try to kill you. And then, of course, Scar King is going to come out. He's like, well, nah, I'm not going to let that shit happen. And I'm going to pull out my trump card. I'm going to take you on, and then see, you're stronger than I thought. I'm going to pull out my trump card and then have her fuck you up. And then, you know, you go about your way, and you know that I'm the alpha here. There's a government here. There's everything is established here. Everything works a certain way here. You can't just come in and expect that I'm going to let you break the fucking rules.
I think that was.
I just don't see why this is bad storytelling.
The rules that it is 100% bad storytelling, because
bad storytelling.
It's about show and tell, and they didn't show us. It's about show and tell. Most of movie making is showing and telling. It's the skill of showing and telling, right? They did not show us enough for us to justify Kong doing what he did. What happened was they were like, "Yo, this is the bad place, and that's the king of the bad place. Yes. And as the hero, you're gonna go punch out the bad person. But
which I would expect from a giant ape. But I think the writers just missed a chance for world building and plot development at that moment in the movie, where I was like, what is this movie about? because when they just skipped over that and started jumping around again, you're like,
that question leads to other questions, right? Like we're curious about other shit that happened in the movie, but like,
yeah,
they were there for a long time before Kong came up in there. So, like, again, we needed to know what the rules were. Maybe they could have been explained with one of the human plot threads, right? Maybe like there's a rumor or a story or a history with the supposed inhabitants of this part of Hollow Earth, where they actually have like governance and laws and a civilization where things maybe just work in this way because they are animals, right? They're not human, but like they are animals and things just work in this way. And if you're not following the hierarchy, if you're not following the way things work, then maybe you get murked. And that's just the way it is. And they've been living this way for how many fucking decades, centuries.
All right, so let me say this: they did establish that this was not the natural state for these primates, for the great apes. They established that in the movie. This is not their natural situation. This is not their normal, huh?
How?
Over time,
in that chamber where they talked about how Scar King came to power and how he was pushed back down. They established that that's not how they lived.
That was
also we know the fact they had another chamber which is where Kong found the axe. That's where they were before.
So
then they were pushed down to that area by Godzilla and his ilk.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but that was after.
Hey, nice use of the word ilk, D. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, they did talk about that afterwards. Yes.
Again, show and tell. They could have alluded
explained
to that.
All this.
I can see that the pacing is weird, but it also would have been weird if they were like, if they'd have told that story beforehand.
I think it would have been less weird if they told.
I don't know.
Not the entire story. Maybe like alluding, like say, hey, here's the scar.
Well, then that's up to the dealer's. That's dealer's choice, then, right? Like, whether you put it here or there, like it's in there. Whether you put it at the beginning or you put it like in the middle and put it in, like that's up to the directors, right? And I don't think that anything that placement particularly would make it like worse, right? Like whether you put it right before the fight or you put that segment after the fight. It wasn't very long after the fight where they brought that up, where they went down, they found those people and went to that chamber. Because right after that, Kong came all effed up.
Right. But the thing is, that's exactly my point. Showing and telling. They didn't have to explain the whole fucking story. They could have even done it in both places. Right? Give us a little bit to make us understand that world a little more. Kong is in there. Maybe Kong is scoping the situation out, doing a little reconnaissance before stepping in. And then maybe it gives him time. It also gives us time to understand what is actually right and wrong in this place.
So
and then after the fight, and then after the fight happens, after his observation or whatever, then explain the rest of the story afterwards.
That's an option they could have done. I don't think it would. Okay, that's an option they could have done. I don't know, better or worse. I don't know. But like here, as far as establishing though, we learned a lot from the little monkey Kovu, whatever his name is, the little monkey guy.
Yeah, don't ask me the names.
Little Kong.
Little red. Actually, I call him Little Scar.
Oh yeah,
little red ass. But like we learned like a lot about their civilization, how they were living from that interaction when he first got there and he got jumped, right?
Did we learn a lot?
Huh?
Did we learn a lot, or did Kong come in there and start a fight?
No, he walked up. They attacked him.
Well, that's why I mean.
I'm talking about when he first got to the underworld, which is weird. I got questions about that too.
You mean when he first walked in, right?
Like, not into the cave. When he first got to the underworld area.
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And he was jumped by those was like two or
Horses. Yeah.
yeah, and then the little guy, and
Which
then
even wouldn't they be like, what are you like? Wouldn't they have a second to take a pause and be like, who are you? Like,
here's the thing.
what are you
Also,
doing?
we have a also again. It was another point where they talked about why was that facility destroyed, right?
The one with the arm.
Yeah, why was it destroyed when they got there?
I don't remember.
Yeah, why
Scar
was
came
it?
up there and he fucked it up.
Did they?
So
Really?
it's reasonable, yeah. So it's reasonable to think
Yeah, they
that
did.
Scar,
He flashed
his
it.
eye was in the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
So
that's right,
then
that's
it was
right.
reasonable to think that he sent those guys out there with his little monkey son to lead them to go find Kong and fuck him up because he knows that Kong is being watched over by these humans.
See, we could have, like Frank said, show and not tell. They could have shown us or told us that.
Why do you?
This is
okay,
this
maybe
is purely
they're
the fault of the
expecting.
writers and not
Oh,
Kong.
they yeah. I mean,
They could have slowed down in that moment, show Kong scoping the place out, show how Scar King came to power. I don't know how they could have done it. Maybe a voiceover or something, like quick line.
Kong walking,
Hey,
dick swinging, axe on the shoulder.
vet.
Like
I'm sure
he's
the
not
vet
giving a
knew
fuck
how
about
Scar King
rules. He's
came
like,
into
hey,
power.
I'm here, guys.
I'm sure the vet knew how Scar King came into power.
So that's one of the parts. So what you were saying?
How is Scar King able to control this ice kaiju? How does he have this? You know,
I think that's based on his intelligence. Like he obviously seems smarter, and he obviously is the leader for a reason. And I think it has a lot.
Also,
to do
his
with
eyes glow. I don't know what that means, but it's the thing.
I think it was just a cool.
I didn't mind. Like you said, you do need a cool villain. I didn't mind Scar King. I just wanted them to slow down in that moment and see what are we doing here? What are we trying to accomplish? What does Scar King want? You know, I think that the ice kaiju,
we know what he wanted. He wants to go back to the surface to take over.
Yeah, they did say that's what they tried to go there before, right?
Yeah, that's why they got beat down and cast into the underworld.
I will say probably one of the coolest scenes in this entire movie came in the beginning where Kong swam up to that tentacle kaiju or whatever it was like the octopus kaiju, and he blasted down the tentacles while the tentacles were like wrapping up around his face and shit. That was probably one of the coolest scenes. That was easily the coolest death.
Yeah, Godzilla.
Okay, you said Kong. My bad.
I'm sorry, Godzilla. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it came down and blasted the freaking breath for like right down the tentacles. Man, that was dope. But like
they also explained there. They explained the pink color. That's why that monster came out. Tiamat. That monster came out pink because that's what the energy it was gathering from that area, right? Mm-hmm. So apparently, I don't know why, but apparently at that intersection,
the reason why, and they actually explained it.
Aurora Borealis. I don't know.
So I will admit, this is a good split between showing and telling because. They literally said in the movie that Jesus, you got me doing it now. Godzilla Godzilla needed to gather energy for something big, for a big threat. Now the thing is, like, what threat were they talking about? Was it the Scar King? Was it Shiva or Shimu? Was it Shimu or Shiva? I thought it was Shiva because Shimu.
Shiva's the Ice Queen from Final Fantasy VII.
Well, she's an ice goddess.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so was it for Shimu?
I think it was for Shimu. I don't think it was for Scar King in particular. I think it was for Shimu because Shimu was. I didn't think that fight was. They said that the Ice Age was caused by Shimu alone.
Right, they did say that.
Like that's the level Shimu is.
But the thing is, Godzilla. So again. Here we go with the bit of the plot mess, right? Like Godzilla couldn't go to Hollow Earth without Kong letting him in. They said that word for word in the movie. So how did Godzilla know to prepare for Shimu? Sure, you can feel the energy, but if there's no way you can fucking get in there, what were you gonna try to do if Kong wasn't conveniently there to bring you to Hollow Earth?
Hey, better to be safe than sorry.
Hey, so that is actually something that's explained in the show.
In the show?
I'm trying to remember, but I do recall Godzilla can go to middle to
Hollow Earth.
fucking Hollow Earth, yeah. But he you know,
They literally said in the movie, then I guess they fucked up because they literally said in the movie Godzilla can't come here unless Kong invites him or Kong brings him down
because
there.
he needed the portal.
Right.
Yeah, they did say that. Yeah. Yeah. And
I'm trying to remember. I remember there was something in the show because Godzilla went down in the show. Godzilla did go to Hollow Earth. Shit, I don't remember what happened though. I feel like they called him there because they were setting up the portals at that point. Shit, I don't remember though. But
I like the last fight with the ice monster, Shimu, whatever it was. But I didn't think that Godzilla necessarily showed dominance over him. I wanted them to go a little more toe to toe, you know, like because obviously Shimu was only in there as a foil to Godzilla. They needed someone to be able to match against Godzilla. Strength, you know, so I wanted them to go a little bit harder, but that wasn't the point. The point of this movie was Kong, which is why it should have just been Kong 2, or you know, it didn't. Godzilla might have been a little more impactful if Godzilla made an appearance as opposed to.
Dude, it was literally Godzilla and Kong fighting. I'm not sure what we're missing. Like, why would it just be Kong 2 with the feature of Godzilla? Like Godzilla was in the whole fucking movie. What are you guys talking about?
Impact of the fight
wasn't in the whole movie, dude.
He was in the whole movie. He was the first one. He was. Yes, he was the first one.
He was the like the first big kaiju.
They talked about, we watched him laying in the Coliseum, like, and then I don't know, like, and then he fought Timu. I mean, he fought Tiamat. And then he charged up, and then he came out pink.
You're gonna literally say that Godzilla had more screen time than Kong in this movie?
I don't think it matters who had the most screen time. I think if we're talking about Godzilla and somebody, and they were fighting each other, like I mean, they were fighting as a team.
They seem.
That's what it was about.
They only fought as a team for the last 5 minutes of the movie.
They're not friends.
I'm saying. They
fought each other and then they fought as a team. Like
at the same time, the movie's story, the movie's story was revolved heavily around Kong and his journey to find his people.
It's hard to tell a story about Godzilla.
It is.
Because he doesn't give a fuck.
It is.
He just wants to fight shit.
He's a force of nature. I get it.
It's like telling a story about Brawley. It's like you kind of need somebody with some fucking personality to fucking tell this story for him. Like
I get it.
He just wants to fight.
I get it. But like Godzilla wasn't in the movie for a very long time. And Godzilla versus Kong, he was in the movie like most of the time.
It was truly his movie. It was Godzilla versus Kong. It was their movie together. You know,
but like,
it should have been Godzilla and Kong versus Mechagodzilla for real, because you know that was who they fought together against.
Should have been. It absolutely should have been. I don't understand why they dropped the ball on that. I'm like, what? I'm like, why?
that part
I'm being sarcastic.
that part was.
I don't think that's reasonable at all.
That would be amazing.
Godzilla and Kong versus
yes.
No, because they fought each other for most of the movie. It should have been Godzilla versus Kong.
It's classic. It's classic. Bigger threat. The bigger threat comes, like the great.
Also, look, hey. Also, if they'd have spoiled fucking Mechagodzilla, like I'm sorry, Mechagodzilla popping out was dope. Okay,
that shit was cool.
That shit was cool as shit.
That was really cool.
That'll spoil that.
Because we knew it was him before, but I'm talking about the moment where he burst out of that mountain and Godzilla realized, oh shit, this is what I've been sensing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it didn't look like he was going to come all the way together. And then when fucking Ghidorah repossessed the fucking body, what?
Oh my god, damn! It gave him a new body.
I will say one part I definitely really enjoyed about this movie, no sarcasm, was my queen Mothra.
Oh my god, Mothra, yes.
I kind of came out of nowhere.
I almost didn't expect it, and it's the only thread with the humans that I actually appreciated, just because they brought Mothra out.
So
and
good.
I'm like, Mothra, she's my queen. I love Mothra, dude. Like in King of the Monsters, Mothra to me was everything. Like I loved her part in that with her helping Godzilla and taking that blow. I'm like,
yeah. And this, she was like, fucking stop. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Godzilla was like,
Godzilla, chill.
Like, hey, and look, was it just me or did Godzilla have an expression of like,
yeah, realization, right? Like an epiphany.
It's like,
oh,
you. I'm sorry, man. I felt that, I felt that.
They explained that Mothra and Godzilla have a symbiotic relationship, connection, or something like that, right? Yeah, so Godzilla is the protector of nature. Kong is the protector of the human beings. What does Mothra? Why is their relationship? Is she like? She revitalizes nature or something? I'm sure I can look it up and find out.
That's exactly it. That's exactly
right.
It.
Okay, so that's why her and Godzilla have
You can look at her as Mother Nature,
right?
And Godzilla is the protector of nature, so essentially protecting her as well. And then you have Kong, who's the protector of the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, man, that was dope. That was dope, and she looked really good.
She looked great. She looked great. I'm like, they're not gonna bring Mothra back, are they? And I was like, they did it. I'm like,
Mothra dies all the time in old movies.
I know. She finally did it this time.
Real talk. I kind of glad they skipped the whole larva stage.
Yeah,
like the whole larva Mothra stage is like
true.
But they could have had her. But I mean, they could have had her in the larva stage while Godzilla wasn't doing shit. He was just sitting in the Roman Coliseum. They could have had her in the larva stage.
I think
just Brian on his back and shit.
Having her in the larva state is like almost necessary build up for Mothra, right? But
yeah, you're right.
But like, I'm just glad they just brought her out on break. Like, just like, here I am.
yeah, true. You kind of like missed the baby Mothra just shooting webs and like, look, I'm gonna trip you. Y'all fighting over here, but I might trip them from the side and shit.
I agree with you, Juice. Like, it is hard to make a Godzilla movie because it is similar to Broly. Like, it's just this loud, screaming monster that you do need. That's why Godzilla vs. Kong worked so well, because Godzilla was able to bounce him off of Kong, who could actually emote and had a personality.
Godzilla is like borderline obnoxious in this shit.
I think that's why we enjoy Godzilla the Monster so much. Is because like they actually told a Godzilla story without, even despite the fact that it's hard to tell a Godzilla story. You know what I'm saying? But they told.
Yeah, true.
King of the Monsters is better than. Is it better than all these movies? King of the Monsters is better than
I 100% enjoy King of the Monsters better than both of those.
I think so, yeah.
100%. Like,
real talk though, but we had like because like Kong, but you can only kind of do that once, right? Like, you can only kind of do that once because you would need
what once?
Like, no fucking King of the Monsters, because you need a Ghidorah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need like it was like the greatest hits of like all the monsters, dude. Like they were all, and at the end, right? At the end of that movie, he became King of the Monsters, right? Like they all bowed to him. The ones that were
true. Which is it's like the only way to get this nigga to leave. Like, oh my god, everybody
come on. Oh my god. He's gonna fuck us up and he's gonna fuck up this world. Just
take the knee. Take the knee.
Take the knee, nigga.
The only thing that movie left you wanting was to be able to see more. You know what I mean? Like you wanted to see more. Like I didn't spend enough time with enough of the monster. I want a part 2. I want Godzilla King of the Monsters part 2 so I can get more.
It's coming, bro. If this does
I would love King of the Monsters part 2 because I love King of the Monsters.
Look, they got monsters at the wazoo, and you don't think fucking Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla coming back?
Yeah, I mean Mechagodzilla can always be rebuilt, right?
Yeah, and Ghidorah, man, like there's fucking DNA out there. Somebody
never dies.
Yeah,
and there was a third skull. They only used 2 in Godzilla vs. Kong, right?
That's true. No,
they had one inside the suit, and the guy who was controlling it sat on.
Wasn't there a post-credit scene in King of the Monsters regarding that?
I think so.
I thought that's where they got the skull for Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah,
I thought that's where they got the skull for Mechagodzilla. But I thought in Godzilla vs. Kong, there was one skull inside of Mechagodzilla. There was one skull where the guy was controlling Mechagodzilla. But where's the third skull? Did it get blown off in King of the Monsters? I don't remember.
No,
it doesn't matter. They could bring it back.
Right,
also, there's aliens. The aliens haven't popped up yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ghidorah comes with aliens, right?
King of the Monsters
he's an alien.
Yeah, he's an alien, so he comes with alien people. So those motherfuckers ain't even showing up yet. So it's possible they could just write that shit in. And Rodan's somewhere out there.
I mean, Rodan is still alive, so there's that. Like Rodan was one of the ones that bowed to Godzilla at the end of King of the Monsters.
But didn't Scylla also bow the fucking monster at the beginning?
Yeah.
But then that motherfucker was just like, God, he fucking stepped out the line.
He was the first one to run after.
Hey, real talk. Tiamat is just a fucking victim, man. Godzilla needed some shit, and he went up in that domain. It was like, look, I need your fucking power. And Tiamat was fucking around. Like, god damn, Godzilla don't give a shit, man.
He just stepped out of line.
Yeah, no. Scylla was out there walking around in Greece. He was like, dude, did I fucking tell you to leave?
Not for long.
Yeah, get your ass.
He died 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect Godzilla to give a shit. He doesn't care about. He's not emotional. He's a force of nature. So, but yeah, man, I didn't hate the movie, man. I'm going to watch it again when it comes on HBO Max. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to watch it as many times I watched Godzilla vs. Kong or King of the Monsters. Or
I'm just gonna watch the end with my queen, and the final fight was dope.
I wonder where they're going to go in the third movie, because obviously we're getting a 3. Kong is the leader.
I don't know. Like to me, the movie didn't leave it open for a third movie. It just seemed like it ended there.
The thing is, like, my whole thing is, if they came up with so many goddamn Transformers movies, we can't get at least 2 more of these guys. Come on, we can get 2 more. Y'all got 37 Transformers movies nobody watched.
I mean, I think it would make sense to separate them maybe for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, like
I'd agree with that.
I'd agree with that too.
A Godzilla only movie, maybe feature him. You know, maybe they can write that elusive story with Godzilla being like the protagonist instead of the force of nature that he is, and then you have Kong with his new arm and his new axe. You know, he's got his hair did. And
he's got some cornrows.
He's going out. He's the new fucking alpha. He's the new king of that place now. You know, like
they definitely left it open for a third movie. I thought at least not a third movie for them, but at least another Kong movie. They left it open for.
Well, like what the thing is with Kong, like who is out there that would challenge him?
Yeah, that's my question. I feel like his story can kind of wrap up here.
I feel the same way. I feel like that's it for Kong, right? We're not going to see any more of him.
I think
unless something calls him away, like Godzilla or something, or a Godzilla monster where Godzilla goes to seek help from Kong, but Godzilla doesn't seek help from anybody. But
it's the classic hero's journey, right? I thought I was alone. I found my people. I was a leader. Now they need to show me leading. Like, what impact am I going to have on this community?
Well,
they definitely
not necessarily.
But the thing is, there's no conflict there because he's already there.
Hey, bring back Star King.
He's got
back.
He was
bring
cool.
him back. He's dead.
They can find a way around that.
Hey, Kong's out there riding Shimu. Like, not fucking with him, man.
Like, I think
Kong and Shimu are tight right now.
I think he's done, but maybe there has to be something that big enough that calls him away or calls him back, maybe to regular Earth.
Hey, let me just say, I want to say that, like, I am so glad they didn't kill Shimu. Like, I kind of like Shimu, man. Like, she was a dope beast.
Yeah,
4-legged, like, white, cool. Super powerful. Yeah. Like, I wanted to fight.
I wanted to fight with her and Godzilla to be a little more, like, in depth, like a little more. I don't know. I just wanted more of her because she was cool. She did look cool.
Like, I feel like Godzilla was. She was handing it to them singing, man. Powered up and everything. She was giving it to the thing.
Her power caused an ice age. Like, she's got to be. I mean, how strong is this fucking thing? So I got
that's why Godzilla went pink, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and also so speaking of pink, I saw this joint come up.
Kaioken.
How do
Uh-huh.
dang it, how do I exit slideshow? Boom, da. I don't know how to work computers.
What are you trying to do?
All right, look, can I
Get this image up. It said Godzilla's pink form was inspired by Dragon Ball Z.
Kaioken. Yeah.
It wasn't Kaioken. It was the pink power up, right?
Hey,
Anyway, maybe it's not.
Kaioken
That's Kaioken, so maybe it was. I don't know.
Was Super Saiyan God?
I think so, right?
The red hair, the pink hair, red hair.
I never found the article, so let me just say I didn't read it. I don't know.
It just looked Kaioken to me because it was from the inside. So.
Oh, okay.
And Kaioken was pink, was it?
Yes, it was.
Pink. I thought it was red.
I thought it was red too.
Well,
yeah,
I guess
it's on the spectrum.
So I got
that was fuchsia.
So say real quick. So I'm on Screen Rant right here. So I have a list of how many movies is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All MonsterVerse movies, right? So they say a movie's fate financially is decided in that drop off from week 1 to week 2. So what is it? Is this the third week that it's been out? This is the third week. I think so. So I don't have updated, but this is from week 1 to the.
No, it's the second week.
Second week, yeah.
Second week.
Okay. So this is from week 1 to week 2. I think it's the third weekend. I think it's the third weekend. This is out.
When did
it came out on the 26th?
No, this is the second weekend.
Second weekend.
The 12th. The 12th would have been the third week. The third Friday, at least.
Okay, because this is from Screen Rant. When was this article? All right, so they have a list. Oh, right, it is the second week because they don't have an updated for Godzilla X Kong. So Godzilla was the first of the MonsterVerse movies, 2014. This is at least domestically. Opening weekend domestic box office, Godzilla 2014 was at 93 million. So I guess that's the first Godzilla movie, not budget? King of the Monsters.
Do they have the budget?
They don't have the budget, but they have the second week drop off was 77%. So opening week it made 93 million. Drop off the second week was 77%. Final domestic box office take was $200 million. So that's only domestic. That's not obviously worldwide.
Right.
So Kong Skull Island was 61 million opening weekend, had a 64% drop the second weekend. It ended up making 168 million. Skull Island was dope. Godzilla King of the Monsters had 61 million it opened with domestically, had a 78% drop off, ended up with 110 million. That was 2019, so that's COVID and all that stuff. I don't think it was really in COVID then. When did it come out?
COVID was 2020.
COVID was at the end of 2019.
No, COVID was at the beginning of 2020.
Right. December and all that. That's why I thought that's why it was called COVID-19.
No, COVID-19.
No. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure COVID broke out overseas at the end of 2019. It wasn't 2020. It hit here in 2020. That's when all the lockdowns. That's when all the lockdowns came here. Was at the beginning of 2020.
Well, yeah, the time frames. I guess. Yeah.
COVID hit internationally in 2019. So
that's not why it's called COVID-19. It's not about the year.
I'm pretty sure, bro. I'm pretty sure. Do you guys want to put some money up? Okay, we'll talk that.
Yes.
Let me finish my list.
I will. How much?
Let me finish my list.
It's a virus strain.
Godzilla vs. Kong, 48 million opened domestically. 445% drop off. Ended up with 101 million. That was in the middle of.
But you have to remember that Godzilla vs. Kong came out on HBO Max.
Yep.
At the same time, so everybody was still home.
Godzilla X Kong opened with 80 million. Opened with 80 million, and until this article this morning, so I guess they count Fridays, it had a 65% drop off. Ooh. Obviously, final domestic box office take is non-applicable because we don't know yet. So, but yeah, we'll see. It opened with the second highest domestic opening weekend. Godzilla 2014 was 93 million. Godzilla X Kong opened at 80 million. So more than all the other MonsterVerse movies, which 2 of them came out in COVID. But yeah,
How to do against other movies that came out at the same time?
I'm not sure. I don't have a list of that.
Okay, I don't care.
But like, I think this definitely trends towards we're getting another Kong or Godzilla or Kong and Godzilla movie. I don't think they're done with the MonsterVerse at all.
No, definitely not. They just introduced a bunch of new characters. Now they can unintroduce a bunch of people. I wouldn't care about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can we unintroduce all the people? Just like
if this one made made money like you're saying, then yeah, they're definitely gonna invest in another one.
80 million, but I think a lot of that too is like this is like the movie doldrums. There's not really a lot of box office blockbuster hits out right now. I think it's a good chance to take the family out to see a movie that
perfect time.
Just timing is everything, right? Like it's not going up against any other blockbusters or anything like that. It's just kind of its own.
RB2's not coming out and shit.
Mm-hmm. Man, so yeah,
ain't no Marvel movies dropping right now.
Oh man, we were so spoiled. I was talking to a friend at work the other day, man. Like, it's how spoiled we were, man. We had no idea. We thought they were just gonna do it again. Okay, so yeah, man, like Thanos rolled through, cool. Let's do it again. We didn't know that was it. It was the end of an era.
Sure was.
This guy was trying to besmirch Ninja Turtles 3, man. I said, damn it, I'm not gonna let you do this, man. Okay, that shit still counts. Ninja Turtles 3 counts. Okay.
Oh, me? Yeah. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, he's trying to besmirch the legacy of Ninja Turtles.
No, it doesn't. That movie was trash.
No, I'm not gonna let you do this. Okay?
I'm gonna do it.
1 and 2 were still better. They were better.
I'm doing it right now.
But 3
that
counts.
Was trash.
There.
No, it doesn't.
It sucked.
No, it doesn't.
That shit is.
Come on, no, man, no.
That shit is movie canon.
That shit.
It's canon now.
That shit is the fucking worst. That shit does not count. If anything, they made TMNT to erase TMNT Turtles 3.
But hey, they dropped that shit a lot of years later, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, was it?
It still counts. Casey Jones didn't have shit to do in that movie. Yeah, I mean, it still counts. It's part of my childhood, man. I think it's more nostalgia than of how good the movie was.
I saw it.
Did you guys see the new? We started talking about old movies because of the new Ghostbusters movie that's out. Did you guys see that?
No, I haven't checked it out.
I didn't.
I heard it wasn't as good as Afterlife, but
I heard Afterlife was good. I never saw Afterlife.
Really, Afterlife is good.
I heard they tied it into the old movies and everything.
Yep. That's why they brought back. That's why they brought back all of the old Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna check it out.
Except Harold Ramis, R.I.P. He's gone. But like, they were able to like bring back the old Ghostbusters. They're starting to franchise it, so that's kind of maybe why I guess this one hasn't had great reviews.
And you hear rumors of them having a new Gladiator movie, Gladiator 2 coming out and all this. I'm like, is Hollywood really running out of ideas? Why are we rehashing all these old movies? Like, why is that?
It's about pocketbooks, man.
I mean, I don't know about you, but there's not a lot of movies that I'm looking forward to this year. There's like a few, but like
me neither. I heard they're doing another Matrix. I saw an article on Instagram. Yeah. I don't know if it's true or not.
Well, there's a new director. There's a new director that's assigned to a new Matrix. Correct.
I'm gonna give it one more chance, Frank. I'm giving that shit one more. Okay.
Hey, don't look at me like I thought the fourth one was an awful fucking movie too.
I was so hyped.
It was completely unnecessary.
Did you ever watch it?
I'll be right back. No, I never saw it. I still didn't say I thought about it.
Just down.
I had some time this week. I looked at it.
It's worth it only to see how bad it is. That's the only reason you got to watch it, is like to see how bad is it.
Anybody got time for that?
It's so meta. It's just tries so hard to be so meta. And
I liked where they were going with the whole meta.
I'll be right back.
I kind of dug it. I was like, okay, he's a video game programmer. They reinserted his body into the Matrix. I was like, okay, I'm on board. And then it just kind of fell apart after that.
There were some things that they did in the meta sense, which was cool. But the thing that I didn't like is like how like in your face they were with it, right? Like literally explaining what they were doing and why they were doing it, like as part of the exposition, like in the meta sense. like, you know, like literally saying like this is a response to all of the people, all like the redditors that doubted this plot thread from the second movie, or like the whole Merovingian part, right? That entire fucking part was like social commentary on like well, it was a social commentary on not only his character, but like the state of why they're making a fourth movie. You know, and I'm like,
I didn't even realize that was the Merovingian until like a couple minutes after.
I thought it was Robin Williams from Jumanji.
Yeah, they was like not refined at all. Like Robin Williams from Jumanji.
Just like he Robin Williams from Jumanji literally made a cameo in that movie, dude. Like it was just like he looked so awful. I was like, wow.
Maybe the director, which the Wachowski sister now, right? So maybe that was her way of getting back at the studio. Like it was so meta. They explained it like they're going to make this movie with or without us, and maybe she was like, "I'm going to make this movie so bad that people are going to hate it because I didn't want to make it in the first place. We should have never made it for it."
Maybe, but like I know that like it just seemed very strange to me that like only one of the sisters was involved this time around, you know, and it's kind of like it's one of those things that like I don't know why she would want to tank her reputation like that though.
Why do you want to shit on the fans who love this franchise?
What are we talking about?
Matrix. Still Matrix 4.
It's just so horribly bad, Juice. You gotta watch it just to see how bad it is, bro. I'm telling you.
Nah, you don't, man.
You're gonna hate that shit, bro.
You don't, man.
You're gonna hate it. Like it doesn't even have any of the flavor of the Matrix that you're used to, man.
You're a big
think about it too. This,
I'm moderate. Like I like the first one, and I really like the second one. The third one, kind of like meh.
The third one's way better than the fourth one, bro.
It sure is.
The third one is still the Matrix. It's still the Matrix.
Still the Matrix. It still follows. This one, dude. There's no reason they made it. It's just Hollywood fucking around. Like I don't even see how it would be relevant under any circumstance. Just I don't care. I'd rather not. I'm happy leaving the story where I left it.
Just watch it to see how.
And it's not like they're like fucking. I don't know, about to reinvigorate the franchise. Not with that shit, then.
Well, I mean, supposedly the director that they have to do this next one, he's actually a really good director. So I'm hopeful that like he can usher it in a new direction. So we'll see.
Maybe he can get the first one snapped. Retcon that shit.
Like I don't know, like man, the fourth one is so bad. The reason why I'm even bringing up the fourth one again is because literally in the movie they're showing clips from the old movies. Like I'm talking like footage.
Yeah, that's a throwaway.
Like footage, and it's like it's probably like 20 minutes of the movie of that, right? Like literal footage from the old movies in the movie.
So last time on.
I mean, they start the movie that way. They start the movie basically like showing you footage of previous movies, and it's like last time we left our heroes, you know, like here we are, and then I think that was fine. I think that was fine for just that part, but then they started like sprinkling more and more footage from past events in the movie, and I'm like, okay, what is this? Like, it's like they literally didn't care to fill those gaps with like things that are actually going on currently with with the story that they have. You know,
and you're thinking to yourself like, this is also post John Wick. What 3? Is it 3? It already came out by then, or
John Wick 3 had come out. Yeah,
you're thinking like the hypeness is like, how are they going to incorporate some of that John Wickness into the Matrix?
They just didn't.
How are they going to combine the two flavors? And there was none of it. Like there was no.
Like Keanu Reeves did not train.
Character.
Like he didn't
secondary.
Like he did not train whatsoever for this movie. You remember in the Matrix movies, you remember when he does like the charge up before he flies?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, he did it in the fourth movie and it looked so bad when he did it. Like super stiff, and he was like he didn't stretch before he did it.
Yeah,
He just like, I will try this now.
So he he did this awkward like bend over to try to charge, and he didn't even do it. He couldn't even do it because like he didn't believe in himself as the one yet.
I know this
I'm
turned
good.
into like the Matrix
Yeah, don't
Resurrection
bother.
review. I did like the new programmer, the new head programmer. I liked him a little,
The head
but
programmer.
you know, I'm talking about the so the architect, the new architect.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He was a little cool. I was kind of on board with his plan. I thought it was solid how he locked in the new Matrix and how it like the safeguards he had against any deficiencies in the Matrix. Like he didn't like Smith, you know. He tried to weed all that stuff out.
Anything having to do with like Neo discovering who he was. Like
he tried to
block
perfect
off
the system, which he kind of did a little bit, you know. He was kind of cool.
Taking his memories away, and yeah, just bad. Like I'm also thinking about Agent Smith. Like they had the nerve to do that.
It was hard anyway because Viggo Mortensen, that's his name? What's his name again?
Hugo Weaving.
He was in the Lord of the Rings and all that, right? I was about to say Viggo Mortensen. I know that actor.
He was also in a Lord of the Rings, yeah.
But he has such a voice that like he has one of the greatest villain voices.
I think it's his presence too.
Yeah, I love him, dude. Anything he's in, like
it's gangbusters, man. Like
particularly for the Matrix of his character of Agent Smith. He just had that. And if you weren't going to get him, it was probably a bad idea to even have his character.
Like I loved like all the parallels that they drew from the first Matrix to the third one, right? Like with how he, like, you know, when Neo jumps into him, right? When Neo becomes the one, when Neo jumps into him, it's like Neo fucked up. In that moment, Neo fucked up because Neo left a part of his code inside Agent Smith, and that's when Agent Smith became self-aware. And then when he became self-aware, that's when he started fucking everything up, right? Like, and it's like, yo, that's so cool because he started to become more human. And they were also like other crazy examples too, like even right, like small details, even right down to the sunglasses, right? Whereas like Neo was becoming more machine-like, right? Like more like, you know, it's Keanu Reeves acting, but like his speech was becoming a little more robotic, a little more staccato. Versus
he was,
Agent Smith started making more jokes, started seeming more human, and even right down to the sunglasses. Neo's sunglasses started to become more angular, whereas Smith's sunglasses started to become more rounded. Like human, right? Like it's just like, yo, like this is the type of thing that I was expecting from the fourth Matrix movie, right? Just levels upon levels, more philosophy, details that you would just not miss, like. And the Matrix 4 just shit the bed completely, and I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? Like,
if you would have done Matrix 4
college project.
You could have flipped that to another 2 movies. You could have had a whole second half to the trilogy if you'd have done 4 right. You know,
there's just so much. There's so much that they did right with the Matrix movies, and then they just came out with the fourth one. I'm like, fuck.
Hey, Juice, I'll say this much: if you're iffy on Matrix 3 and you're like, blah, you know, because I remember being disappointed when I went to the movies to see it. But
they wrapped it up for me.
When you watch Matrix Resurrections, you will appreciate Reloaded or Revolutions in the way you never did before, bro. You will watch Revolutions happily and be like, "This is the Matrix, man. This is what I'm used to." Not 4, bro. Like it's just watch it tonight when you get out of there and watch that next. You're gonna fall asleep. I guarantee you're gonna fall asleep.
No, I'm not watching that shit.
I'm
good, son. I'm still trying to work my way through fucking got over to Guardians of the Galaxy, man. I'm watching Matrix 4.
Oh, dude, you haven't seen 3?
I'm working towards. I'm trying to make my way through, man. I was gonna watch it today, but I ended up watching Godzilla versus Kong again.
That was the best Marvel movie probably since Endgame, right? Has there been a better Marvel movie since Endgame?
No Way Home.
No
you
Way
better
Home,
stop. You better stop.
How
No way home.
They're so
dare
few
you,
and far
sir?
between. They're so few and far between.
How dare you, sir?
Hey,
Speak
and
such
Marvel was kind of like
nonsense.
No Way Home was kind of like a Sony slash
You
Marvel.
smirching? You're talking about
Speaking of
besmirching?
the smirching,
Dude, he tried to besmirch the legacy of Ninja Turtles 3, man. I said, no,
Legacy.
I'm not going to let you do
That
this.
movie has no legacy. That movie has
Yes,
no
it
business.
does. It's still
Business
nostalgic.
being made.
It's still nostalgic, Frank. Come on, man.
It can be a bad movie. It can still be a bad movie. It's only nostalgic because it came out 20 years ago.
We were kids, you know. We saw it. We didn't like it as much as 1 and 2, but we still saw it. I enjoyed it.
Speaking of besmirching, how about the guy who besmirched all of hip hop in the 90s?
Whoa.
By ending up being a fucking sex trafficker.
Whoa. We talking about P.Diddy?
Are we really surprised?
Deep pity.
Oh my God.
So P.Diddy is an entrepreneur and an entertainer and a hip hop mogul. You know, you would imagine he's pretty low down on the socio totem pole as far as like the business world and, you know, things like that. Like he's not like a tech mogul, you know, like, you know, but
all you need is money, man.
That level of depravity exists within that world, right? And like if Diddy's here and he's being accused of all these things, imagine what some of the people at the upper echelons of power, like the depravedness.
Well, wait. Remember what was Jeffrey Epstein? He wasn't a tech mogul.
Yeah, true. Entertainment, business, Hollywood. Yeah, you're right.
He was just a guy with a lot of money. I think he had like some real estate shit. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like all you need is fucking money and the will to be a scumbag.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But like, just to recap, what happened recently. I think it was I don't have a date. I don't have the date up. But anyway, recently in the last few weeks, Diddy had his home in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Raided by the Homeland Security. And they came in there looking for looking for evidence and I guess more evidence to go along with his accusations of sexual misconduct that he's had. There's been a number of allegations. I think it's like 6 or 7, like over the last few months, from both men and women, saying about how he's just really been. Well, one, some of the accusations are about how he, his personal misbehavior, right? And then 2, some of the allegations are about some of the something I hadn't heard about, which I feel like maybe I should have, but his all white parties he would have. Have y'all heard about those?
Yeah.
I saw a picture once. I think it was like
that was a pretty well known thing, I think.
Yeah, apparently he had like those all white parties were like the thing of like everybody would go to them, from NFL leaders to actors to everybody, you know, talking about tech CEO, tech leaders, like just the richest of the rich, the creme de la creme, were going to P. Diddy's all white parties and getting involved in crazy sex acts. And apparently, from what I remember hearing, he was pulling the Epstein, where he had cameras in every room, and he had video of everybody and who was doing what with everybody else, and, you know, and he was supplying people, supplying girls for these people, and like, you know, it's crazy, man.
It makes sense that you would have cameras. I mean, I'm not sure where he held these parties, maybe his house. right? But you know, you would know who's doing what through your security system. I would have a security system too if I had
Oh
something
no,
like that.
no, these aren't secure. These are in the bedrooms.
Well, okay, we don't know exactly where the cameras were. You know what I mean? But it could have been
Everywhere,
in the hallway leading up to the bedroom.
Everywhere.
everywhere.
No, no,
I
no.
mean,
Bathrooms
probably,
with audio.
probably. You know, but this is
And
not new.
4K.
Like I'm sure that people. This is the old Epstein Weinstein argument. It's like people knew this was going on. If these allegations are true, which it seems like they are, people knew this was going on for years. Like who did he piss off, or what led to this information what led to his homes being raided? You know, because it seems like to me, he either pissed somebody off or there's some truth to what's happening here. Like, why is this being exposed now? It's been years. We heard about Diddy parties for years now. You know, 20 years. Like in the 90s.
I would argue that it's simply because he's rich. Like, okay, I don't have this article, but there's an NPR article. Actually, I dropped it in the group chat.
Well,
In the group chat, that NPR article has a fucking list of like 20 or 30 just instances of shit Diddy was into, which he probably should have been in jail for.
it's also
where he just didn't go to jail for none of them shits.
It's also a matter of that in like the past month, like five people came forward accusing him of sexual assault, unwanted sexual contact, and yeah, like it's like five people in such a short period of time, basically like one person a week. So
I remember
that kind of I think that kind of shit combined with his status, right? Combined with him being rich and his status will make authorities probably like at least do an investigation of some kind. Because it's like if it's one, you're rich, we'll let you go. If it's two, well, we'll turn a blind eye. But if anybody else comes forward, then we might have to do something. But it's like 3, 4, 5, 4 women, 1 guy, right? Like so, that's I'm thinking that's why. That's why that investigation was started. Investigation absolutely needs to be started with the first time, with the first person. But it's just the frequency and the speed, and like it's warranted.
Like he paid off so many. He paid off so many people who like came out against him. Like even Cassie, even recently, like he paid her a lot, so much money to shut up. But like apparently, whatever she had was enough to maybe not her, maybe it was somebody else, maybe somebody who he didn't pay off. All it takes is one, and all they need is a little bit of evidence. And if you're talking to authorities already,
and then more people,
and you're talking about crossing state lines and international shit, then that's already like the FBI or the Homeland Security. They're all looking at this like, oh, this is a ring. This fits the definition of right. Whatever law, sex trafficking, I don't know. Like, and then they jump on it, right? And my mistake, they raided his house in Los Angeles and in California.
In Florida.
I mean, in Florida, yeah, sorry, and in Florida. And it's just like one, for the FBI to make a move like this against somebody so well known, they're not doing this joint frivolously. In my opinion, like they got shit. They already had some stuff. They had enough to get the warrant to raid a billionaire's house in 2 locations simultaneously.
At once, something's going on, bro. They're investigating you.
And I guess it just makes me think about like how I clocked this motherfucker so many years ago.
Cat Williams warned us. He said it. He said it. He said it.
Investigators seized firearms and phones belonging to Combs from his homes, though it's unclear how many devices were confiscated. I would hope that somebody running someone who's allegedly running a sex drug trafficking ring would not be stupid enough to use their cell phones to handle any business. You know, maybe was it the whole Pizzagate thing where you order a pizza and what you're really talking about 13-year-old, you know what I'm talking about? The whole Pizzagate thing a couple years ago where like
that wasn't real though.
Was it?
It wasn't real. Remember the dude fucking kicked in the door. Like the reason you know about it is a crazy dude kicked in the door and was like, "Where are the kids?" And it was just like, and everybody in the place was like, "Holy shit!" What the
fuck? Maybe Pizzagate itself was not real, but the concept of Pizzagate is 100% real.
Oh yeah, like,
definitely. There are ways to get
sex trafficking.
Sex sells like any levels in all types. I mean, we just opened the whole podcast talking about sexual fetishes. Let's rewind 2 hours, but I don't know how we got there. But there's a fetish for everything. So the Pizzagate itself might not have been real, but the concept of it is totally real.
See the spoon?
These guys not stupid enough.
Rule 34.
Rule 34.
Rule 34.
Plenty you could do with that. Plenty you could do with that.
Like,
plenty of ideas. Yeah. Which end?
Some stuff is so gross. It's not even sexual. It's gross. You're even like, ew, man.
See this clip?
Yeah.
Gross to you. What's gross to you? Not so much to somebody else.
Nope.
I know, man.
That's why I said whenever I see a girl, like, you know, you see a girl twerking on Instagram and then her kids in there, it takes me out of it. Like, I'm like, kids and sexual images don't combine to me. I can't do it, you know.
Well,
like
you're a normal adult human being.
You're right.
Because there are people that are into that too.
It's crazy. It's ridiculous. So is that part of Diddy's allegations that it was underage or just sex trafficking?
No,
underage and sex trafficking.
It's both, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, prostitution is an interesting topic anyway, right? Like, why is it illegal to prostitute? I mean, it's really, as long as you have two consenting adults, why is it illegal to exchange money for sexual services? You know what I mean? Like,
it illegal? Should not be illegal to do such things.
In fact, if the government were able to get in on it and tax prostitution, we'd be out of national debt.
And also, if we were able to regulate it, there would be no victims, right?
There would definitely be less victims. Yeah,
there would be less victims, right? And also, the victims that there would be, it would be easier to focus in on them instead of chasing, you know, like 30-year-olds who need some money, right? They would actually be chasing like victims of, you know, statutory rape or whatever. Like they would be chasing actual victims, right? Instead of people who just needed some money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy. So this article says, so this is from News Nation, says Combs' sons, Justin and Christian Combs, were handcuffed during the raids. Justin's mother, Misa Hilton, said she has retained high-profile attorney Jeffrey Leichtman to look into excessive use of force on Justin and Christian. She's alleging that they attempted to humiliate and terrorize these innocent young black men. Said the sons were holding their hands up above their head, seen on video, holding his hand above his head with a gun pointed to him and all this and da-da-da. It's crazy, man. That shit really, I bet you for Diddy, it's really hitting home. It's like, damn, this shit is real. Like, I've been living this kind of fantasy life where I'm thinking I'm kind of untouchable. I can do what I want. And now they're raiding my home, pushing my son up against the wall with a gun in his face, you know.
Right. Remember they were talking about like, they were like, oh shit, is he running? Because like I think they didn't know where he was for a while.
Right.
Yeah. Like, oh shit, did he run? Like, did he leave the country?
It's weird. We're sitting there podcasting about
just like his.
What is Diddy thinking at this very moment? Like his shit he's probably like, damn, you know.
Well, Diddy had like a comment, right? Like he basically said, I'm gonna make things clear. Like he sounded a lot like Bill Clinton, dude. Like he really did. But he's like, I'm gonna make this perfectly clear that I did not do any of those do any of those heinous acts. Like seriously, those are like almost exact words. But
Yeah, it says, let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged.
Right.
I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth.
I'll fight for the truth.
The truth.
I'm like, a little clip of Bill Clinton.
I did not
talking to the camera.
have sexual relations
with that
woman.
Miss Lewinsky.
That nigga looked right in our eyes and lied to us, bro. As the president of the United States. I'm like, damn, bro. That's embarrassing as shit, dog.
I swear, dude.
Right
like,
at us and lied.
Yep.
Oh, like the energy that he came with. I'm like, dude, come on, man. I'm like, they almost got you dead to rights, man. Just
I was hoping he was telling the truth.
Like, try to play this a different way. Like, like
yeah, he looked right at us and lied, bro. Yeah, it was funny. The whole point in the camera too. I did not
sexual relations
with that woman.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Then 2 days later, she popped up with a dress with a semen on it and shit. Like, goddamn, what the hell?
Gotta be more careful.
Wasn't that how he got found out? She had semen on her clothing, right? I thought that was it. I thought she had like a dress or something that had his semen.
I don't remember. That sounds.
I think he got outed by somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember. I might be wrong. Shit. Anyway, we all know that he didn't have sexual relations with that woman. So
the music producer P.Diddy has been slapped with 5 civil lawsuits in the last 5 months. That's a lawsuit a month, dog. That's stressful. I bet you Diddy's stressing right now, man. Shit. Another one?
Hold on. The kid's up. I'll be back.
All right.
Y'all continue. Keep going.
Yeah, man. That sucks, man. So his Juice's girl, Cassie, singer Cassandra Cassie Ventura, who had been in a decade-long relationship with Diddy in the early 2000s, filed a lawsuit in New York City federal court last November alleging sex trafficking, sexual battery, sexual assault, and gender-motivated violence, among other action. You know, sometimes, man, I feel like these laws can encompass so much, right? Like sex trafficking. So Diddy broke the law when he sex trafficked, right? He might have took this woman across state lines to have sex, right? But what if the woman agreed? What if it wasn't against the woman's will?
No.
Now, technically, lawfully, that's still sex trafficking, which they can get him for, which I guess at that point, it doesn't matter if it was against her will or not. He sex trafficked. He took her across state lines for the purpose of sexual act, which is against United States law. So it doesn't matter if she was willing or not. You broke the law. So,
well, I think it's more along the lines of like maybe it's not like about taking across state lines because there's different types of sex trafficking, right? But it's more about selling sexual acts, like having this woman perform sexual acts so that he gains money from it. Like that's the type of trafficking. I think that's the illegal kind because you can take whoever you want across state lines and have sex as long as they consent, right? As long as they're consenting adults. But it's like I think the one that they're probably more focused on is like he's getting money from this. And then it's also about underage sexual trafficking too, right? Where it's like he's having sex with underage girls and boys probably. I don't know. But like
when you get to these levels, you never know, do you?
No, you really don't. You really don't. You find they sort of say never meet your heroes. I'm not saying he's a hero, but like never meet your heroes because like you just you just like you'd be shocked at the shit that they're into. It's kind of funny too because like I'm thinking like Derek Jeter on the Yankees, right? Like he had like a super clean, he had a super clean image, but at the same time he also, I'm pretty sure he had like NDAs all over the place with all these women that he would have like crazy sex with, right? And like they couldn't say shit about like what he was into, like what his kinks were and shit like that, and it's like it's like you never fucking know. And his image was like squeaky clean, right? But
Yeah,
like you never know.
He was like a poster boy for the
Yeah.
for Major League Baseball. Yeah.
Yeah, like, but you never know, right? You never know, especially like I think like you mentioned, like when you get to that level, when you have like the fame and you have the money and you become somewhat of a celebrity, and it gets to a lot of people, you know,
Yeah,
and then they just start doing all
like
wild shit.
Us as Joes who are not there, we kind of don't see how you could get caught up in that kind of culture, right? Because I'm not sexually depraved, but I think it kind of probably has a way of just taking hold of you, and like
it's
you
because
end up participating whether you want to or not, you know?
Well, I don't know about participating whether you want to or not, because that depends on you, really, like inherently. But I think it's more like, I really honestly think it's more like, if given the opportunity, you know, if given the opportunity with almost no chance of repercussion or like any kind of regret, because you have so much money, but like, and there's like women and men and whoever throwing themselves at you, right? Like if you had like when given the opportunity, what then would you do? You know, especially when there's no real consequences for your actions, and that's how he and a lot of other people in a similar boat. That's how they move through life, right? Like they move through life like having all this money and power and knowing that they're not really going to get tried or persecuted for it, and they move through life with a different lens than we do. You know, like we're on the ground, we're working, we're trying to provide for our families and do the right thing, right? Because we don't have all of these means, but it's like very different, very night and day between like how celebrities go through life and how like people like us go through life, you know?
I would like to think myself that I would be able to maintain my level of morality and but when you're seduced by the allure of power, I mean, I see Juice as the Jedi symbol in the background, like, even the Sith were corrupted, you have to be corrupted, like indoctrinated into being a Sith, right?
You have to be corruptible. Like you have to be corruptible.
I feel like if I would truly put to the test that Diddy and Cosby and that these celebrities, Weinstein and whatever, will put through, would I be able to maintain my level of morality and resist?
I don't know. You know yourself, right? It's like you know yourself, but it's like think about it. And I'm not saying on a sick level, like like pedo shit, but like think about it like if you have all this money and power and like women are throwing themselves at you, and like if you're married or in a relationship and women are just throwing themselves at you every fucking day from all walks of life, like the opportunity is presenting itself, it's like, what would you do?
But I think it's also it's
like
also more than just the opportunity though, because it's a mind state. Like I definitely think that your perceptions of your world are warped when you're in certain spaces. So when you're in this, so like when we were saying, so you have power and the money and influence. He may not even start seeing that it's wrong, or may not even have a value of whether or not it's wrong to behave certain ways, right? Because like this is kind of what's expected of him to a degree, right? In those realms.
You end up participating in the culture.
Also, not even talking about like black masculinity, man, and how like a lot of black masculinity is kind of solidified through sexual violence in a way. Like it can't.
It's.
I read some bell hooks recently. Yeah, man, I'm pretty convinced. Like it's fucking.
I was
sexual violence is pretty standard.
I was saying to D earlier that it's like like celebrities or like people with this mass amount of money and power walk through life with a different lens than like people like us, right? Like people who are more on the ground, who have less means, right? And it's like that's when we kind of explore the question of like they have all this opportunity, they have all this opportunity to capitalize on like their every desire, you know, with ease and no challenge, right? And it's like, what would you do?
Yeah, stop.
You know, what would they? You know, what would you do?
Okay.
It's very easy for a lot of people to give in. It's very easy for a lot of people to give in under those circumstances, right? If you were thrown all this money and all this status and all these women and men and whoever just throwing themselves at you, you know, like a lot of people would be like, cool. Like, I'm in, let's go.
About time.
There's grass on the field, you know.
Oh
right?
my god, dude. That expression.
They said that excuse me. They said sex is a drug, right? So it releases dopamine into your brain, which is the same thing that's released when you isn't it like the same thing that's released when you like take cocaine or eat food? It releases a dopamine rush into your brain.
Yeah.
You know, so you can see how people would get addicted to it. I mean, I'm a straight male myself, so I like sex just as much as the next person, right? But there's two things with sex that don't match with me as being a straight male, right? It's violence, and because we'll never probably ever bring this up again unless another celebrity does something stupid, and the other one is pedophilia. Now, like, those two things just don't go together with. I'm not about to punch my girl in the face. I won't get off on like acting violently towards a woman. Like, for me, sex is a time to be intimate and close, not bleeding and fucking traumatized and shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I guess it depends on what kind of violence we're talking about.
Very, very normal behavior.
It also definitely depends on, you know, and I'm with you, right? Like, there's just those things just don't ever.
And then it's children. Like, what is the fuck is the appeal with underage 16-year-old? Like,
it's all mindset, man. It's
also
all
a lot of it. American culture has kind of turned. There is a lot of like in American culture is, and maybe less so recently, but Americans always think about youth and sex. In some dichotomy, Americans, especially in maybe our parents' generation, always talk about youth and sex. Their fucking biggest fear. One, youth have sex, right? And it's the most uncomfortable thing for anybody to think about. And then two, it's that phrase used earlier, grass on the field. That is a very common expression that was used.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
and that's a principle that people, like, a lot of men would, for a long time, didn't even think about.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, no, that's how it goes. Like, if you think about, like, so HBCU, Norfolk State University, the guys who would be on campus messing with the girls, and they're always going after the freshmen, right? Because they're young and naive, right? These girls are clearly under 18.
Mm-hmm.
These dudes have cars, mortgages, fucking like resources, and they are in these areas going after these young women, not even thinking twice about it. And I always saw it as being like, yo, this is not, it's normal, right? It's normal. It's not okay, but it's normal, right? And I feel like that's a common, like, I don't know. I feel like it's more common than you would think, man. Like,
it is. It's more prevalent than you would think, and in many different disciplines and areas, right? Like, there's that setting.
Church,
church, capoeira, man. That shit.
Oh my god,
that shit happened there too.
Yes,
it was fucking rampant. Right?
Yes, those power dichotomies, man.
You see it on a basic level. You see it on a basic level. You have a young student. You have a young student that like, you know, and then you have the teacher who's the authority figure, right? That, like, it's easy. It's just easy You know, just thinking about it, right? Not that I've ever done it or anything, but like it's just easy to think
Because
about.
it's
like,
kind of
how
hard not to idolize your teachers, you know?
Right, because the young person, especially being young and naive, look up to that person, right? Because this person is bestowing knowledge, and it also commands respect, you know, and that can easily be turned into like desire, you know, wanting, lusts, like whatever have you. And in Capoeira too, it was fucking rampant everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, on the basic level, it's young student and teacher, and then on another fucking level, it was like teacher and just taking it, just running through girls, you know, in the classes or whatever, you know, like, and then on another crazier level, it was like pedophilia, you know. It's just like, it's crazy, man. It's very prevalent, and
I
guess
it's unfortunate.
The idea of the age of consent. I mean, I guess if you look at like American ideology or whatever, right? Like, now we come from, you know, obviously of African descent, but America, the founding fathers were from what, like patriarchal European society. All right. So like they got to take their choice of women. There was no age of consent. The age of consent, I guess, is it's a newer concept, right? She has to be 18. 18 is considered an adult.
Depends on where you live, actually. Some places it's 16, as young as 16, 15 even, I think.
Because, you know, I mean, years ago, kids were getting married at 15, 16. Girls were giving birth to children at 16. It was normal. You know, you would have your first child at 17, you know. And I am with the point, though, like, if you're 19, 20, you're old enough to make your own decisions legally. You might not be as smart as you will be when you're 25, you know. So those guys weren't breaking the law at NSU, you know, as long as the girl was 18, right? Like,
I mean, I know a lot of them were 17.
I was in a situation once where I was this girl wanted to date. I was 19. Okay. The girl was 17. I said, no, we got to wait till you're 18. I've always dated girls that are kind of in my age range, maybe a year or two older or younger, whatever, you know. But I wish I could have been a younger dude getting like an older girl. You know what I'm saying? I wish that shit would happen to me, you know. Like if I was like 22 and I had like a 32-year-old, that shit would have been dope. I'd have brought it to y'all. I'd have brought it to the dude's crib, Juice. Back when y'all lived in Dumfries. But yeah, it's my babe. She's 38. You know.
She's gonna give her age out. Shit.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell?
Oh yeah. Oh her, yeah. She's 38.
Yeah.
She got a car and shit.
Y'all used to have the bomb house parties though, man. I remember that first house party y'all had over there, man. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it just popped off.
Cleaning up after them shits, man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Niggas nasty.
I woke up. It was like a Diddy party in there.
It was nasty.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah, man. But Diddy though, never trusted this thing.
If Diddy is guilty, just like Bill, just like anybody else, you got to suffer the consequences, bro. Like, it's the only thing that holds this little thing called society we have together, right? Is laws. Like, if nobody pays attention to the laws, you know, you break the law, you got to suffer, man. You know.
Yeah, man. True. As you should.
It is.
And the fact that he's gotten away with it for so long, just off of paying off people, man. And the whole thing with Shine. Shine took a fall for this nigga, man. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Went to jail for like what, 7-8 years? Was it longer than that?
Yeah, like that. Long time.
He was in jail for a minute.
Yep.
I still have
a gun charge for Diddy, man.
Yep.
It's just crazy, and that's the kind of power he had, and he influenced. He used it over men and women.
Don't you miss having I think the hip hop community, like we talked about one cast before, we never trusted Diddy because we knew there was too many of his artists that said he was shady.
After he threw away Craig Mack and Shine and G-Dep, like
maybe not all the sex trafficking we didn't know, but we knew he was a sleazy motherfucker.
Making of the band.
So many of his artists came out against him, so we knew there was something sleazy about Diddy, man. So this doesn't surprise us, but
The
man,
whole Usher thing, man.
The law moves differently for people who have means and money, and I guess it's just like Trump. Is
two-tier justice system.
Do you think Diddy's going to face harsher crimes or harsher punishment because he's black? Like if this was,
I don't think race has anything to do with this one.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it does. I definitely think it does.
I think they might come down a little harder on him just because he's black.
If anything, I think race would only really play a factor because of the severity of what he's being charged with. Like this is sex trafficking, right? Mm-hmm. Like this is major, no matter where you are. So I would think him being black it would be a factor there. But like I don't know, maybe they might just look at it as what it is, And because of his money, he might, I don't know, they might just put him in Club Fed.
Something like that, yeah, right.
I think hip hop still has an influence all around the world, right? Like we see we associate hip hop with black culture, which is not the only black American culture, obviously. A lot of our culture was stolen from us, but that's another conversation. But hip hop culture is essentially seen as black, and it still has a major influence. I think they might get him just because it's such a high profile case with him being a hip hop mogul. His name reaches far. Like he has a brand. Diddy is a brand unto itself. I think they're going to nail this motherfucker to the wall. I think they're going to nail this motherfucker to the wall.
Baby fat?
That's him.
Oh my God.
Hip hop has long tentacles, bro. It reaches deep into, the corners of people's minds and psyches. And I think they're going to get this motherfucker, bro.
It really does. It really does. But like, it doesn't mean that it's respected. It's respected.
Oh, yeah. Dude. They can see we say hip hop like Shine and Talib Kweli. That's what we say hip hop. Nowadays hip hop is Future and motherfuckers talking about drugs and bitches and hoes. Like all that stuff is glamorized.
That's what Shine was talking about.
Like that's what we talked about too. That's what Wu-Tang talked about, right? They talked about the same. It's just now everything is that. Everything is everything. It is classified as hip hop, right?
Money, cash, hoes.
Yeah,
cash in, cash out, cash in, cash out, cash in, cash out.
I think there's a lot of diversity now. I think what our generation of hip hop was missing is there was a lot of different voices, right? Like you had Money, Cash, Hoes with Jay-Z, but you also had Tribe Called Quest. You also had, Wu-Tang talked about a lot of the same stuff Jay-Z talked about. Like there was different sounds and different voices, so you can bounce from one to the other. You had the backpacker music.
I mean, J. Cole's out there,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
J. Cole's out there. Kendrick out there still,
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar is still.
Oddly enough, Tyler's still out there.
The Creator, wow, yeah, he's still around.
Tyler out here, man. That last album was crazy, yo. Like, I don't know, what was this shit?
I remember when my boy first put me on a TDE with Kendrick and Absol and Schoolboy Q. I was kind of in the hip hop doldrums then. I was like, it's not hip hop doesn't exist anymore. Everything is like Future and that shit like revitalized my love for like because they were lyricists and they were West Coast. It's like I never really attracted so much to West Coast music. But the first album I ever heard from those three dudes, even Isaiah Rashad, he's got a couple some mixtapes and some albums, but same TDE. Like the first album I got from I think was Ab Soul. Was it Long Term Mentality? Was that the first one I got?
That was a mixtape album.
With Setbacks and then High Power with Kendrick Lamar and all that. That shit was all their albums are cool, even to this day. Like Ab Soul his most recent one was cool. So that's hip hop, man. Not Diddy. Diddy was never a hip hop. He was
Diddy was barely an artist.
He was just in the background talking in people's videos.
He was a businessman.
He was the business. Yeah,
he was a businessman, right? Like he was on the business side of things mainly. He was trying to get his hands in everything, or into everyone, almost literally. And everyone, you know?
Get his hands in everywhere. Shit,
Rule 34 for that too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Rule 34 for Diddy. I'm gonna go to Rule 34. Type in
no.
Just look
There's
at
some
those
AI
hands.
out there for that. Oh,
Diddy
like-
was trying to get his hands in everybody. Bro.
But for real, he was more on the business side, you know, like he was trying to I'm trying to think of the right way to say this, but like he was trying to like I don't want to say it this way, but like he was trying to be down with everybody, you know, like he was trying to connect with everybody, you know, and that's what a business person should do, but it's still like
and
it was
he
still
did
shady
it with,
as fuck, you know, like you could tell.
And he did it with success because he did that and then flipped it into a mogul career where he's dabbling in other businesses and liquor and clothing, and he was successful in what he did.
He would get in and then drop you
over and over and over and over again. Over and over again. He did that shit to Loon. He did it to Shine. You know, he did it to G'd Up. Like he did it shit over and over and over. Over and over and over. Same thing.
That's terrible.
I still think to this day he definitely had something to do with Biggie's death. Like,
to this day, son.
I don't know. He was a cash cow.
Day.
I do know. Like
I think Biggie was a cash cow for him. I don't think he wanted Biggie to die. Biggie was his hottest guy at that time, you know?
Biggie was still hotter after he died.
Yeah.
Yo, that's what flipped Diddy's career. Remember we were talking about.
I didn't know who he was before that shit.
Diddy made an album.
I'll be missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that song was like multi-platinum, sold all these,
And then speaking of Godzilla, the Godzilla song, y'all remember that? Hear my cries, hear my fall. You know, you want to fuck with me? Hear me roar. You don't remember that song?
Was that?
It was
to the movie?
Yeah, it was to the soundtrack of the movie.
Yeah, it's coming back to me now, man.
Oh, y'all don't remember that shit? No.
I'm starting to. Like,
Hold on, I'm gonna YouTube this in the chat.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
You gonna listen to this? You will remember.
I saw some discussion. I don't want to bring it back to Godzilla. But I saw some discussions how like that one Godzilla movie was a good monster movie, but it just wasn't a good Godzilla movie. Right? Fucking
the song's called "Come With Me." Remember that song?
Oh, girls.
You will now.
I mean, Jesus.
Here it comes, fellas. P.Diddy's coming at you.
We about to get fucking kicked off the internet with this shit.
Right.
What you gonna do?
You have to label this shit not for children.
First thing, Diddy gonna come on and be like, yeah.
Check your chat, niggas. But yeah, man, like yeah, P. Diddy, the way he operated, it was more business-like, but it was sleazy as fuck, and there was a lot of shady shit. But it was just like I don't think we ever thought it was like to this level. But
yeah, nowhere near this.
With the money and the status that he has, doesn't really surprise me. You know, now, in retrospect, hearing about it doesn't really surprise me. It's a shame. And it's a shame for the victims and for the people that's been affected. But it doesn't surprise me. Like, just look at that dude, man.
I saw a headline, and I saw a headline when I was looking up articles for the story, and I didn't click on it because I was like, that's not. I'm pretty sure this ain't true. But it said that one of the guys who was tied to Tupac's death might have had something to do with this fucking case.
What?
Yeah, but if you Google, I can't remember which it was. It was some fucking.
I think I do remember this shit, bro.
It might have had some ties to this shit.
Hey Frank, was this from the first Godzilla movie?
The one in 2000.
Yeah. I think I do remember this, Joe. Yeah,
that movie. It was the one in the year 2000.
Because the way he's dressed looks late 90s, early 2000s. Big leather clothes and all that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. Hey man, you gonna make me add this to my playlist? I'm gonna add this to my playlist, man.
Hey, no, we gotta retcon. We gotta go back. We gotta throw away all Diddy music now, man. We gotta do the same as R. Kelly, man.
See, R. Kelly is difficult because he's a sleazeball too, but he made some hits. God damn it, go down his musicography.
I know, man. I know. I don't really like R&B, but I listen to some goddamn R. Kelly, man.
But you know the songs, even the songs that he wrote for other artists are like they're hits after hits. Like, you know, Michael Jackson was accused of all this shit before he died, and we still know that Michael Jackson made good music, man. Like, at
least he had the courtesy of dying before shit came out.
Yeah. But I do remember this goddamn song, man. Let me turn this shit off, man. I'm gonna listen to this after. Look at this. I'm looking at the video. The fucking elevator blew out the building and shit. I'm like, what the hell is this, man? I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna watch this when I get it. But yeah, man. Hey, God bless Diddy. You know, Jesus Christ, bro. You know.
So speaking of God blessing Diddy, didn't he try to do a whole thing with the church recently?
I heard something about.
He was doing like gospel or something recently.
Yeah, what was that about?
And he had changed his name to like.
Oh no!
No, he changed his name to some shit, man. Hold on.
I thought it was just Diddy. I thought he just Diddy. I thought he dropped the P.
Church name change.
Yeah, I thought he just dropped the P. I thought he just did Diddy.
I'm a Puff Daddy.
You can hate me now. Oh, this dude was in everybody's video. So now YouTube, after you clicked on that video you sent Frank, like now YouTube is suggesting all the videos, and like every thumbnail with the artist, it could be like the Notorious B.I.G. and it has Diddy in every thumbnail next to the artist. Like it's Shine's video, it's Diddy and Shine.
I'm sorry, or is it you're welcome?
Don't you miss the days when you could go to the store and like buy the CD though?
I did.
Because like even the anticipation,
he changed his name to
like,
Love.
Yeah, aka Brother Love.
Oh fuck,
Dude Love.
When he was doing the church shit, changed his name to Love. Oh, fucking God complex.
I can't with
that. God complex, bro. Because the fucking Bible verse, which they made me memorize, 1 John 4:8. God is love.
Nah.
Fucking God complex, man. Of course he does.
One of the commenters for the YouTube video Frank sent, it says Godzilla is suing Diddy for sex trafficking.
I hope she wins that shit.
Yeah, man, Godzilla about to win. Godzilla about to win that shit, bro. Damn.
Hell yeah, yo. All them eggs in the fucking don't Diddy, God damn it.
Don't you miss going to the store and buying a CD though?
God.
Like, remember the thrill of like getting a new CD
that had all them eggs in Madison Square Garden?
Remember getting a new CD and getting in the car?
God damn it, Diddy nasty ass.
The CD. You know what I'm saying? I remember I used to go to the mall to buy CDs. I would unwrap the plastic from around the CD like in the food. And then I would read you remember reading the back of the insert?
Yes.
I'd read who produced it and all that shit. You know what I mean? I can't wait to listen to this, man.
I think the last time like I was like real excited, like, you know, during that era was it might have been, you know what it might have been, you guys remember when Kanye and 50 Cent had their albums come out on the same day, and then it was
Graduation and
Curtis,
yeah.
Curtis. Like I remember, I think that was like the last time I was like excited about going to the store and getting a CD, you know. But that was also like one of the last few years that ever happened, you know.
I'm almost 100% certain. I'm 100% certain I have Graduation. Do I have Curtis? I think I do.
I didn't buy it. I just bought Graduation.
I bought Graduation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because I was young. Because they had that bet. You know,
yeah, they had the bet. Yeah. Nothing happened.
If I'd have known then what I know now.
Right.
Yeah, Kanye was the man.
What's the fucking 50 talk about doing the Diddy documentary and shit?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw
This
that.
nigga,
It's kind of crazy now that you think about it, but 50 probably had the best head on his shoulders out of all these guys. I would be completely shocked. Now, I don't know 50 as a human being, but I would be shocked if I found out 50 Cent was involved in some kind of sex trafficking.
D man, quit jinxing niggas. Yeah.
He seems like a very smart guy. You know, he's flipped. He's in a lot of movies, right? Which
I'm gonna
Hollywood
play this
would
shit when the
do that.
allegations come out. I'm like,
He seems like
D
a
did
like.
that shit.
So you know now he has like a series of power shows on Stars, right?
Mhm,
So like,
true.
I feel like 50 has a good head on his shoulders, man. Like you would have never thought that back in the Curtis and all that days, because he was talking about shooting them up and bang bang and gangsters and all this shit.
That's
you know?
what happens when you get shot 9 times, though, son.
Yeah.
Some of that Jones thinking different.
Who would have known that 50 would come out on top? You know, like as he's the real. He's not as batshit crazy as Kanye or apparently Diddy. Damn.
I don't think he ever was though. You know,
Not-
like at least not from what we've seen. He never was.
Yeah, you're
Like,
right. Yeah.
And you're right. Like getting shot 9
He's funny.
times.
He's been funny as shit forever.
Like
Mhm.
getting shot 9 times humbles a nigga. You know, you know, like straight up. You know, so that'll be the wake up call that you need.
But then again, the shit he did to Ja Rule.
Oh, dude.
I was never a Ja Rule fan. I'm sorry.
Me neither. And I was almost thankful. He ended that time period, and I was so tired of this nigga.
Mm-hmm.
I was so tired of Ja Rule. I was like deep down thankful that 50 came and ended this shit.
I don't understand why it was ever marketable. Why it was ever marketable that they thought that this motherfucker with his awful fucking voice. It sounds like his voice needs an oil change, right?
Yeah.
Like awful fucking voice thinks that like, oh, it's marketable to have him start singing on everything.
Yeah.
Make him
he was around the T-Pain time, right? The auto tune, or did T-Pain come after?
He didn't use auto tune though.
T-Pain came after.
T-Pain came after, yeah.
Yeah.
And Ja Rule sure shit ain't use auto tune.
Ja Rule was like late 90s, like mid to late 90s.
They did start that whole like singing and hip hop kind of blend.
He was on a song of Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mariah
shit was playing all the time.
So was
Carey,
ODB was on the song with Mariah too.
That's true. But it's just like what
that song is also here too.
Who's thinking that this makes sense?
Yeah. I was never a Ja Rule fan. He had one good track I heard. It was on the Belly. You remember the movie Belly? The soundtrack for that movie.
Yo,
yeah,
that just said that album had a good
Ja Rule track I ever heard that I liked.
Which one was that?
I forget the name of it, but just if you just look up the Belly soundtrack or the YouTube Premium, and
he was
Ja
all
Rule
over back then.
Yeah, man. Belly had a good ass soundtrack. That soundtrack.
I actually liked that movie, man. It was a bad movie, but it was a good movie.
You didn't like Belly?
No, I love Belly, son.
Okay.
I said it's a bad movie, but it's a good movie.
It's a good bad movie.
Yeah, it's a good bad movie.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie. I love that shit though.
Mm-hmm. It's like that first kind of like hip hop movie, man. Y'all want to touch on a few of these 48 laws of power before we get up out of here, man?
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Well, y'all want to do the first six?
Oh my god!
No, now you got that shit stuck in my head.
Hey,
without my baby.
Try to put it.
God bless 50 Cent for putting this nigga out of our misery.
I never attracted to Ja Rule's sound. I was like, I just don't like Ja Rule.
Hey, the last shit I heard about Ja Rule was he was invited to that Fire Festival shit. That fucking blew the fuck up. That shit fell apart. That shit fell apart bad. And Ja Rule was in that shit, trying to get on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
that's the last I heard about this.
Yo, what a career move, dude! Like, I don't know if he knew, but like, fuck, of all places.
Yeah. Bro, that shit was crazy. You watched the documentary?
Yes, dude.
Oh my, yo, Claudia made me watch that shit.
It was the worst. I was like, yo, I'm like, how could so many things go wrong?
Yeah, man, true that. Damn.
All right.
Would I be without my baby?
You try to put it on.
Oh Jesus.
Would be without you,
my baby.
Wasn't he dancing in the video too? Yeah, he was dancing in that shit. 50 did kill his career. Damn.
He
Put it in the
did
ground.
single-handedly. It was like, that's enough of that.
Put a bullet in it. Put him in the ground, literally. Not put his career in the ground, literally.
Yep.
Yeah, that shit was terrible. That was strictly for the girl. Uh-oh.
All right, fellas.
All right. I got a screenshot for this shit here.
So y'all want to do like the first 6 or so?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we ain't got to say much on it. I think they apply. Some of them are devious. Some of them are definitely more devious than others. But I think they apply to a lot of different areas of life, like not even just business, but like personal relationships, business relationships, you know?
All right, so how y'all want to do this? You want to set this up, or just start talking, or?
I can intro it, I guess. So,
like why
48
why
laws of,
yeah, why this?
Yeah. So, anybody who is a man in America who has gone through kind of that phase of trying to figure out where you're at and maybe how you should, make your way in this world, has been recommended this book at some point in their lifetime. At least, maybe not to be for everybody. That's how it should work with me. So, like, I remember hearing on multiple places that other books I was reading, other other people I was listening to, would recommend, hey, if you want to learn how to move through this world, you should look up and read the 48 Laws of Power. It's a must read. I remember specifically, I specifically remember hearing Diddy suggested and 50 Cent suggested on
50,
2 separate occasions.
Yeah. Speaking of 50,
right?
I heard 50 talk about it.
Yeah, 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, right? Mm-hmm. And there's this is what you need to know. This is how you're going to become successful in the world, right? And so I remember I read this a long time ago, years ago, and I guess I was when I was younger, maybe in my mid-20s, Yeah, my mid-20s, and I remember reading this journal, going through it, and we're okay, this is interesting. I'm not sure. I remember being hesitant, but still finishing it, and I guess all in all, it didn't do much for me, because I was still and I'm still into comics, and I'm still into superhero shit. This is clearly villain behavior. But
not necessarily villain, but power behavior, okay. I'm sure that there are heroes that have lived by these laws. I'm sure Superman or even Bruce Wayne would apply to some of these,
Well,
maybe Bruce.
I think Bruce would have definitely abide by the 48 Laws of Power, bro.
Maybe we should start talking about some of them.
All right, so let's break it down. Let's get into it. I don't know if you guys need this.
So just real quick, Greene, who is the author, Robert Greene, he asserts that whether you like it or not, you are a part of a never-ending game of power. You're either striving for and wielding power, or you're a pawn being played by someone more powerful than you. And his book asserts that you should be able to choose your role.
Imagine the psychosis of living your life thinking this.
I don't think it's out of the realm.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
It depends. It sounds like
someone. It sounds like someone who is very unhappy.
It depends on which life. Okay, so can I start with law one?
Who has not been able to take control of their life in a certain way, so that they think that it's black and white in this way.
Yeah, somebody's always out to get you.
Right.
Can I start with law one?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So law one.
So I have a list here from shortform.com. I wish I should have shared it to
I have it up on the screen. I don't know if you can see it, but I have the images.
Never outshine the master. Never outshine the master is law one. Ensure that those above you always feel superior. Go out of your way to make your bosses look better and feel smarter than anyone else. Everyone is insecure, but an insecure boss can retaliate more strongly than others can. So
disagree.
Never
let me say
outshine the
let me
master.
say something about this book real quick. Like, so the book is actually very interesting, right? So Robert Greene, the way he lays out these laws, right, is as you're going through it, like law one, he'll give an example. He'll give that. He'll cause it a judgment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll give a adherence to the law, and he'll give a scenario or a story where, like a historical story. I don't know how truly historical they are. They seem like vignettes, and I'm sure there's a lot clipped out of these vignettes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But he'll give a historical reference to where the law was abided by and to where the law was not abided by or ignored.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes he'll give a counter to that law. So all in all, the book is super interesting, right? Like, I don't know how much you would probably take away from it saying like, hey, I understand history better. But it's still interesting the way he lays out the stories, the way he lays out the examples, and the sources he pulls from in China, Japan, multiple places in Europe. Yes,
You can see where
Africa,
some
he
of the
only
most,
has some Aesop's fairy tales or some shit, which is like,
yeah.
okay, sure. But America, of course, he
It's
has
not. It's
American
not his fault.
stories.
They don't teach us African history.
No,
You know what I mean? Where's our African historical drama?
there's nothing.
You know, franchise. But
yeah.
except for Black Panther, that's the only one we got. But the cool thing with this book is you can see where powerful men throughout history could have used some of these principles and laws and applied it. Right, like a Napoleon. Right, you can see
He
where
talks about
some of
Napoleon
these.
a lot.
You can see where some of these would have applied and how he ascended the ladder of power. You know what I mean? So law number 2, never put.
Wait,
this
wait,
is where
we
it
didn't
gets
finish.
devious.
Hold on, we didn't finish law number 1.
Discuss. Yeah, I thought we were going to discuss the law.
Okay, my bad.
So sorry, Frank, you were saying hard disagree.
Hard disagree. Hard disagree. And the reason why
the master.
Hard disagree because, well, I you know, we talked about this offline briefly, right? But like, my whole thing is that with the whole ensure that those above you always feel superior. So there's that whole those above you need to feel better about themselves in order for you to be more successful, so that they basically stay out of your way. I don't agree with that. I feel like a strong leader, if it is your boss or someone above you, someone in authority, a strong leader would welcome you striving to be not better than them, but like striving to be on their level or doing something to benefit the organization that the two of you or the group of you are involved in. I don't think it's fair that you have to make yourself small in order to have someone in authority feel bigger than they actually are. That's inaccurate. You know,
he's not saying make yourself small. He's saying make yourself appear smaller than. Never outshine the master. So the master is bigger than me, but I'm going to make it appear that he's bigger than me. Even though it's like the old adage, right? Who's more important to the army, the general or the soldier? The soldier actually goes and fights, right? The general is behind the scenes, right? So like in this case, the soldier, does he outshine the master? Does the soldier outshine the general?
The general was once a soldier, and the general being a soldier has the experience of a soldier and of a lieutenant and of a captain and so on to become a general. So therefore, a good general or being a general means that you understand that all of those people below you are trying to be on your level. So what's the difference? What's the difference between making yourself small and making yourself seem small? I don't see a difference there. It's still kowtowing. It's still kowtowing to
because I think at the end you can still win the war with enough soldiers. You don't need the general. The general is bigger than you because he's higher on the totem pole. His hierarchy.
You need the general.
Better.
Of course, you need the general. You 100% need the general. You need the leader.
10 generals can't do what 100 soldiers can. You know what I mean? So like, you
10 generals.
You need the general, but the general
10 generals is a problem.
Well,
the general needs a
just
soldier.
too many generals. You need one general.
There are soldiers who disagree with their generals. They don't say it because you never outshine the master.
They get tossed to the brig.
They might have a better way to do something because they are there on the ground.
But
that
has to do with
the general is behind the screen. You know what I mean?
That has to do with hierarchy and clear insubordination. I don't think that's what this is saying. I think this is saying that you are to make people above you feel better about themselves so that they stay out of your way in order for you to do what you need to do. I don't agree with that.
Insecurity and jealousy and envy is natural human emotions, and whether you're above me or not, you will feel insecure if I am well respected and listened to in certain areas where you're not. Like, they have to listen to the general.
That's not a guarantee.
If they choose to listen to the soldier of their own free will, who holds the most power over the rest of the? Like, I have to listen to the general. He's above me, right? But if they choose to listen to me, you
being the soldier,
when they don't have to.
So if the general
power in that situation.
So if we're sticking with the military analogy here, if the general told you, if the general told you go kill yourself, would you do it? It's the general.
Never outshine the master.
It's the general. The general's telling you what to do. Would you do it? No, because you're not stupid, and you're not stupid, and you clearly want to live, and you clearly want to live the rest of your life because you seem like a normal individual. So that whole you have to do what the general says, even if it's a bad idea, doesn't mean that you should do literally everything that person says.
Let me say this.
What it does mean, let me just finish for a second. Mm-hmm. What it does mean is that you need to be on a level of awareness, just simple awareness, so that you can not only tell a general it's a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea to kill myself for whatever reason. And you also need to be able to, the general is still a human. The leader is still a human at the end of the day. Humans are flawed and they're full of bad ideas. So you need to be able to tell if it's a true group team, or if it's a true team, the person at the bottom needs to be able to tell the person at the top that I think that's a bad idea. Maybe if we try something like this, and a good leader will at least listen. Maybe they might not entertain. Maybe they might not entertain it, but they need to at least listen.
I think that's the crux of the issue here, right? It's like you said, like, in taking this outside of the military argument, like this never outshine the master is only something I would recommend. Like, you can be used, but this is going to depend on the quality of the master. Right. Is this master truly a master if they can't like maintain or deal with your ability coming through, right? Like, if you have a poor master, like, then they won't be able to reconcile that, right? They'll still try to. They will end up oppressing you.
They'll be vindictive.
Now, I think about this. The illustration. I was thinking about it. The example he gave for this story in the book is Tesla and God damn it, what's his name? Not Madison. The electric guy. Tom Edison. Yes, Edison. Yes.
Yeah.
And he talked about how essentially, because Tesla was questioning his ideas, how Edison sidelined him. Ultimately, because Tesla was smarter and more genius than Edison, and so Edison essentially sabotaged the dude's career. Now, that goes like, this is the point in case. it depends on the quality of the master. Like a true master, and we understand that Edison historically was not the inventor on the level of a lot of other actual like intelligent people or intelligent people and creators at that time. He just wasn't. He was a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
And so the point in case is that, like, if you have a poor master, right, and if you still have to be stuck under him, then yeah, it might make sense to, you know, I guess, diminish your ability a bit. But it's really just a reflection on the master. And so if power is all you're about, and that's going to be the crux of a lot of the laws in this.
Yeah.
Like, power for power's sake is going to be the crux of all of these laws. If you're doing it for power and power only, if you're doing this to usurp the master, only to usurp the master with no real value on the ability you gain from the master or the master's ability for you to be learning from him. You just want the master's power, then that's going to be this may be how you handle that, right? That's the way I see it.
And also, like, this is why I think this book is, ever since I first heard about it, I always thought this book was very poignant, right? It's like, because the laws bounce off of each other, right? So, like, I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit, and we said we were only doing 6, but like, 1, never outshine the master, right? Like, I brought up the general analogy. Right, but if you skip ahead, I mean, I'm sorry, guys, skip ahead to 7. It says, "Let others do the work, but you always take the credit." So, like, those kind of bounce off each other, right? Like the person who's under the master, you're thinking law 1, never outshine the master. The master is thinking law 7, get others to do the work for you, but take the credit. You know what I mean? So, like, you see how power kind of balances itself with power, you know. And I think you're right, man. It's like this book is strictly power for power's sake. It's like
there's no moral.
No.
There's no morality in this book, which is
no at all.
To me is the issue, right? For power's sake is fundamentally evil.
You can see how it can be deceptive, very deceptive. Yes. Should we do law 2? Law 2.
Sure.
Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Keep a close eye on your friends. They get envious and will undermine you. If you co-opt an enemy, he'll be more loyal than a friend because he'll try harder to prove himself worthy of your trust. See, that's where. So some of these laws, I can read 1 and agree. I read 2 and I'm like, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, God damn, like, this shit is power for power's sake.
Sounds like they need to get new friends.
Yeah, I trust my friends completely. Well, not all of them, you know, but my close friends, I would trust them completely. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would leave my children. I would trust them with my children. I would trust them with money. You know what I mean? So some of these, I'm not saying I agree with all of them, but when Juice puts it like power for power's sake, yeah, that's what Law 2 is talking about. It's learn how to use your enemies.
Like, remember, I don't know if y'all knew, but fucking Palpatine sacrificed a lot of his friends. For power's sake.
Power for power.
Palpatine is like, you know what? We're not using Napoleon. We're not using Hitler or none of these guys. We're using Palpatine for every example we need.
Like, he's the epitome of this book. This is the Sith's handbook, yo.
Guaranteed Palpatine read this book.
What do you say? There's no serenity. There's only passion. But yeah, like, don't trust friends, use enemies. Like, so I was kind of curious about the whole use enemies part. Like,
have you guys ever been betrayed by a friend?
Yep.
Yeah.
Has a friend ever betrayed you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you consider them your friend and they you know, misled you, and you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's happened to me too. So it's like, never put too much trust in friends. It can kind of be true, right?
Yeah, but
it goes back to what Kaiman said, though. It goes back to the quality of
the friend.
Yeah,
just like the quality of the master.
Like, to assume,
right?
To assume automatically that your friend is untrustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That all friends, all of your friends are untrustworthy.
Like,
True.
imagine the psychosis. Imagine
Right.
the turmoil you're living your life in. To assume all your friends are
Now
not to be trusted.
it's not exactly, it's not outside of the realm of possibility that that you will be betrayed by your friends.
Yeah,
That
it's
I think
possible.
that happens also
Life.
almost everyone.
Mhm.
At
Yeah,
some point in their lives, right? But like the whole like don't trust any of your friends. It's like, well, I have close friends that are like family.
Mhm.
Right.
Like that are like my found family. So fuck you. I trust them. And it's
This book
like,
is
and
power for power's sake. I think that's
And
the
yeah,
best way to
D,
put
can
it.
you read the last? You had the second part of this is like used enemies because
Um,
something about loyal. They'll be more loyal.
if you co-opt an enemy, he'll be more
Co-opt an
loyal than a
enemy.
friend because he'll try harder to prove himself worthy of your trust. We see that
If there's
over and over
truly an
again in movies.
enemy, I don't see.
We
I
see
isn't
that
don't.
that
over
isn't
and
that
over again in
turning
movies and
them into
TV
a
shows.
friend?
You
Yeah.
there was a show I was watching. You ever seen Black Sails?
I've
The
seen. I haven't watched it though.
No.
part in Black Sails where the guy flips the enemy. He disciplines the guy, beats him up because he did something wrong on the ship, and then he used him to exact a plan, and the guy was loyal to a T. And I'm not saying that would happen in real life, but you see it all the time in movies, right? Like,
Mhm.
my the enemy of my
Betrayal.
enemy is my friend, so he's my enemy, but we have a common interest, which can turn him into my friend. You know, he'll try harder to prove himself worthy of your trust because we're enemies already. So
Mhm.
he has to try harder. I don't trust you inherently, so you have to try harder to prove yourself.
Okay. Well, I didn't. I guess I don't know. Like again, I'm thinking of like a modern context. I'm trying to think of like
Mhm. Yeah,
if I have an enemy, which
I wouldn't
I
think
mean,
of
not that
myself
I'm
as being
aware of, but I
nemesis.
don't think I
Yeah,
do. But
I don't
like,
think I do either. Do I have like a
it's
true
like you have an
nemesis?
enemy,
Yeah.
and like if I did have an enemy, somebody I knew I didn't fuck with,
Mm-hmm. I
to
just wouldn't
what
fuck with them.
end would I trust them to do anything for me?
Right. Yeah. Like I'd be like, yo, go get me a milkshake. Spit my milkshake or something.
Yeah,
What I
like
don't trust
Or
you.
why would
you're
you
my
want to?
enemy,
Or
and it
why
says
Right.
would you want
co-opt.
to? Why would you want them to gain your trust for any reason if they're your
Well,
enemy?
if the
Yeah,
common
if they're
interest,
trying to
right?
gain
Like,
my trust, I'm assuming that's the problem.
Yeah.
hey, common interest, right? Like Tyrion Lannister said in Game of Thrones, man, we make peace with our enemies, not our friends. When we
That's
have
making
common
peace.
interest and common
But that's
goals,
making peace, and that involves forgiveness.
Yeah.
but we have a common interest, and common interest make for better partnerships, right? So like, we're not just friends. We're trying to accomplish something together, which you wouldn't necessarily trust an
So
enemy,
it's
but
like a
you can see how you use
negotiation because you do negotiate with people you don't agree with.
it. Mm-hmm.
So okay, from a negotiation standpoint, but again, would that be an enemy? I guess
Yeah.
if you have to negotiate, it's going to be something you're going to agree with, and they could be an enemy, but negotiating doesn't really co-opt them.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't know. It just puts them on.
That's why I love these laws. Ever since I read the
Uh,
book the first time, I was like, this is just a really good because you can see how this applies to everything, like
So
personal
far,
relationships,
so
business.
far, so far for me, it's 0 for 2. I disagree with this one too.
Mhm.
Like
All right,
completely.
let's go to 3, man. Where we at? 3:12.
conceal your
3 hours and
intentions.
12 minutes.
Oh
All
Yeah.
yeah,
right.
shit, man.
Law 3: conceal your intentions. Always hide your true intentions. Create a smokescreen. If you keep people off balance and in the dark, they cannot counter your efforts.
Okay.
Which
Can
again,
I?
I guess that goes back to friends and enemies, right? I don't want to conceal my intentions from you fellas. I consider you
Mhm.
my friends, obviously,
So
right? But
Yeah.
an
so
enemy, I would totally conceal my intentions.
can I comment on this one for a second? So I kind of agree with this, but the only difference, the only thing I don't agree with, the idea that's conveyed of when you said, what did you say? Create a smoke screen. If you keep people off balance and in the dark, they can't
Yeah.
counter your efforts. I don't look. So
That
I live.
presumption.
So I've lived a lot of my life this way, but
Mm-hmm.
not under the guise of keeping people in the dark and like like with the whole like idea of like, oh, if I tell people what's going on with me, that they're gonna be able to like, steal my ideas or counter my ideas, or
You
I'm
live
just
your life this way without the deviance.
I'm just a private person
Yeah.
in general,
I
right?
get
Like
you.
I don't let a lot of people know what's going on with me, and I know there's those sayings like the best revenge, the best revenge is success in silence,
Oh, I thought you were gonna
and
say a dish served cold.
I did too.
that's revenge. That's revenge is a dish best served cold. But no, the best the best revenge is success in silence, where you just do what you gotta
Ignore
fucking
them.
do what you gotta fucking do, ignore all the other shit, make your way, make your money,
And
do
do
your
well.
thing, do well for yourself, and you don't have to brag about it, just do it, right?
Yep.
And it's like that, like I lived a lot of my life this way, but this intention where they're like, oh, if you let everybody know what's going on with you, then they're gonna fuck up your shit. They're gonna fuck up your flow. It's like,
They're
again,
coming after you.
It's that negative connotation of saying like all people are there to fuck your shit up. And I'm like, that I don't agree with, but I do agree with the general idea of just succeeding in silence, just doing your thing. So that's what I
agree with that. No, I agree with that pretty much. Essentially, like the idea that, pretty much exactly what you said. Like it's good to move in silence, right? It's good to it's very few instances where I would see myself being an over the top boisterous person, especially in public, or two, where it's good to just tell everybody what you're about to do. Like if you're doing that, then you have another problem going on with you.
right.
That's not like a normal behavior, right?
Yeah.
So like, do your thing, but the idea of like, oh, you're working in the shadows to do something, like, well, I don't have any nefarious intentions, right? And if you're pretty good at not making enemies, you don't have to be perfect. Sometimes you piss people off, you don't even know it, right? But the idea that like somebody's like purposefully trying to get your ass, like, I don't know, man, like it just always comes down to like the mentality you have to maintain to abide by these laws in the way they're presented in the book, right? Like I have an abbreviated here, which is just concilious contentions. But when you go into the rest of the book,
it is. There's an air of deviousness about it.
Socio-psychotic Sith.
Sinister.
I think you're right, dude. This is like the Sith handbook right here, man. Yeah, they train Sith with this book.
Remember, nobody knew Palpatine was Sidious.
Does that law say the rule of two?
I'm a drink every time you said Palpatine.
The rule of two, it's actually the last law. It's actually law 49.
That's the 48th. Yeah, that's the 49th law.
Yeah, 49th law. There can only be two. One to wield the power and the other to crave it. You know what I'm saying?
Crave power. Yeah.
That's it.
I'm a drink every time Juice says Palpatine, man. I'm a drink every time.
Nobody knew he was Sidious.
All right, law number 4, I agree with completely. Always say less than necessary. Say little and be ambiguous. Leave the meaning to others to interpret. The less you say, the more intimidating and powerful you are.
So you ever know the last part?
Yeah, exactly.
The last part again.
Exactly, dude. I was with you until the last fucking part.
The less you say, the more intimidating and powerful you are.
No, the last part.
Like, yeah, the
more intimidating and powerful. Wait, intimidating and powerful.
Where definitely. Hey, ho. We're on Star Wars, right? Darth Maul walked in the room and didn't say shit. He wasn't loud. Darth Maul didn't say anything, and you knew he was powerful. Okay, Darth Maul didn't come in with a loud voice. You ever meet those guys? It's like you might be at the mall with your family or something out in public, and you have those loud young kids, just loud mouth, nigga, fuck, just talking. You're like, man, shut the fuck up, man. Like, but the guy who comes in quiet, you always kind of wonder, what is he capable of? Because he don't say much. He just kind of keeps to himself and stays in the corner. You know what I mean? No. Like Darth Maul didn't say nothing, but you knew Darth Maul was powerful, man. Okay, always say less than necessary. Darth Maul didn't say shit. He came in, lit the light.
He didn't say anything.
Fuck you up.
It sounds like a little different.
We never heard his voice in the movie.
He didn't say anything.
And also, that's a movie, and it's
True.
like again, it's,
it's
show and tell, right? Like Darth Maul didn't say anything, but he literally spoke with his actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the thing. So, in essence, you could say that he was speaking, but he was speaking with his body, like his actions. So he had a lot to say whenever he was dueling. But like this in general, like I don't see like sure, I agree with most of that until it gets to the intimidation factor.
Yeah.
Right? Like why do you,
I think it's true.
Like Yoda abides by this rule. If you want to bring up like Star Wars, like Yoda says he's not giving long explanations.
Yeah.
Nope.
He's saying a few things, do or do not. There is no try. And you're like, the fuck? Okay.
Would you
and you gotta
consider
think about that shit.
And it's also the whole like keeping people off balance. Like keeping people off balance and in the dark. Again,
no, I don't.
It's a very like reserved. It's a very like reserved way of thinking. It's a very like it's a reserved and like closed off way of thinking. It's like you're still not opening yourself up. Like you can be a man of few words, but it doesn't mean. But okay. Here's what I'm trying to say. You can be a man of few words, but when you speak is when you are powerful.
Yes, when you have something to say.
That's when you are.
You know why you're powerful then? Because you haven't said anything before that. So when you actually speak, people
that's
listen.
Not why. That's not
it's like,
why.
Damn, this guy never speaks up. He never talks.
If somebody's having a long discussion.
Whereas if I always came in and talked, you'd be quick to brush me off because this mother, he's talking again. Like you always talk.
If you're having a debate about something, and you have like one guy who's sitting there, or you have three guys, two guys are going back and forth talking. The other guys is kind of sitting there like, nah, they're like, and then finally he said something. He says, "I like spaghetti."
He says the mic drop. He says the mic drop phrase or the mic drop sentence.
No, he just says, "I like spaghetti," and everybody's like, "The fuck?"
You would think
they're like, "This guy's an idiot."
You would think that he would say something. It matters
what you say. It matters the words matter.
Yes.
Yes. I think you would think he would say something pertaining to whatever argument that he was involved in or whatever the situation was at the time. Not something completely random and off the top of the head.
What's that phrase? It says there's a phrase that goes, better to stand silent and make people think you're intelligent than to open your mouth and it says it's like anyway. Better to stand silent and make people think that you might be stupid than to open your mouth and remove all doubt, right? I think that's a Mark Twain or Roosevelt. Somebody said that shit. But like
Palpatine didn't say much either, man. He said a lot when he was chancellor, right? But once he assumed his emperor position, he didn't say much, Well,
he's
powerful.
Sidious didn't say much. Palpatine said a lot.
Sidious, Palpatine.
Palpatine is a politician, so he did say a whole lot. But like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like in a general sense, you can definitely say very few words. But I think the dichotomy is that when you speak, you have something very important to say, and then those words are more powerful than anything. It doesn't really have anything to do with you not speaking. It's just that you're choosing your words carefully, and you're making them hit home, hit hard whenever you do speak. So it's really about what you do say, not what you don't say.
Yeah,
which is why I'm thinking that this is a very like closed off and reserved way of thinking, and not being able to like open yourself up. Because if you followed this, then you would never say anything.
If I could amend that law, with like instead of being like making you seem like powerful, intimidating, I would just leave it at like it makes you seem confident. Like nothing seems less confident than like a person who's blabbing,
who just
like
keeps
just incoherently rambling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking for 5 minutes about nothing. Like,
yeah. All right, well, fellas, we almost at 3.5 hours. Damn it, we said we were going to keep this under 4, man. All right, let's go to law 5. So law 5, so much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Nurture and guard your reputation because reputation is integral to power. With a strong reputation, you can influence and intimidate others. We see that in movies all the time.
Jesus Christ.
That word
The most
intimidate.
hardcore gangster. Hey, Bill the Butcher rolled in on gangs in New York, and he had a reputation already. You knew Bill the Butcher. You know what I'm saying? Like Bill was the man. Like your reputation precedes you. We hear that all the time. You know.
Like again, I was almost 100% with this until that word intimidate.
Yeah.
God,
Go ahead, bro. I hear you. You say you were with it to win?
So right up until that word intimidate.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need to intimidate anyone? You don't need to intimidate anyone. You can.
Well, I think intimidation.
You can seem intimidating to others by your reputation or by staying silent, but that's their preconceived notion of you. But you don't have to pass off the idea or the aura of being intimidating to other people. Like,
I think there might be different levels.
It doesn't have to be a negative.
Right?
imitation.
Right. It doesn't have to be negative.
There has to be a negative connotation to this, and the word intimidate is completely.
Like, you can have a reputation for being a giving, charitable person. You got a reputation for being In fact, one of the other laws in this is about scarcity, and in the scarcity argument, he argues about the reputation of a guy who had a reputation for being a what do you call it? A person who judges things honestly and rationally, like a person with good judgment. He had the reputation for having the best judgment, and that was the judgment he had. And that it wasn't anything sinister about his judgment, but that judgment was what led him to power, or that reputation of being rational and level-headed is what led him to power, not being like, I don't know, intimidating. That's the thing about this book. It's so goddamn fucking sick.
It is. Okay. It can be. It is the 48 laws of power. Okay. But I think like intimidation has a negative connotation. I don't think intimidation has to be negative. It's your presence. Your presence can be intimidating. Like not like I'm scared of you, but more like, wow, I'm in awe. Like if Obama walked in the room, he's intimidating as far as his presence. Like, damn, that's Obama. You know, as much as shit as we get for Trump, like if Trump walked in the room, I would think that he would have a presence. Like, you might not be intimidated. You might think he's a clown. It's not, I'm intimidated like I'm scared, but I'm more intimidated like, wow, that's Trump. That's him. You know, he's here.
Fair
his
point.
Presence is here. You know.
Fair point. Like, yeah, I would think of Obama. Like, I would be intimidated with Obama's presence, not because he's like about to do anything to me or anything, but like, you know, he's not even the president anymore. But I'm like, yeah, this guy wields with power and he was the president, all that good stuff. But if Trump walked in the room he's not president anymore either. But yeah, if Joe Biden walked in the room, I would not be intimidated whatsoever.
What if Trump walked in the room?
Like, I'm gonna kick this nigga in his kneecap, you know, in Roblox. And
I think like he's such a public figure. I think if Trump walked in the room, I think you'd be respectful because you're a mature adult.
I'm not gonna curse somebody out because I'm a mature adult. Yeah. I'm just
think you'd be like, hey, how you doing? You know, you might or might not shake his hand. I don't know.
I probably won't talk to him if I had the option.
Yeah. I don't think
he's
like disrespectful though. You know, like damn, he's.
But that has nothing to do with whether or not he's intimidating. I guess it does. I don't know. I wouldn't be intimidated. I also wouldn't talk to him. I also wouldn't attack him.
Yeah.
Sorry. So all those covered.
I got to issue at Bush. Yeah.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be intimidated by him. I'm not intimidated by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Even if they're like celebrities or whatever. But like.
Well, Frank, you're not a small guy anyway, so intimidation, you definitely ain't scared. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of a bigger dude.
Frank, man, like,
Yeah, like that Goku before he fight stretch.
But yeah, no, I wouldn't be intimidated. Yeah, like I wouldn't be intimidated by him, but I also wouldn't talk to him, and I also wouldn't like provoke him in any way. So,
all right, well, all right, law 6, real quick. I guess this is the last one we're gonna do. 6. So 6 times what? 8. 6 goes into 48 8 times. So 7 more casts, and we'll cover all of them. So number 6, create an air of mystery. Be outrageous or create an aura of mystery. Any attention, positive or negative, is better than being ignored. Attention brings you wealth.
Okay. So I will say this. Every single human being in this world needs attention. That is a fact of life, right? It starts when we are babies, right? Like as babies, we need, you feed them, you clothe them, you change the diapers. Yeah. But you also have to nurture them, which requires paying attention to them. Every single human being in this world needs attention. I will say that, sure, yes, 100%. But then it spins off into this whole be outrageous or create an aura of mystery.
So didn't we just talk about reputation?
Right. Like what do you want? Like any attention, positive or negative, is better than being ignored. And I'm like, well,
it's a little contradictory.
I kind of don't agree with that. I mean, hey, look at Diddy. Any attention, positive and negative. Diddy getting all the negative attention. He'd rather be ignored right now. Yeah.
You would think. Like I don't know. Like it's just somehow it seems like every single law so far. And I will read this book after this. I promise you. I'm gonna download it right now.
It's a very quick book. I think even the audio book was only I don't even know if it was 5 or 6 hours.
No, it's more than that.
Is it?
But it's one of those things. It seems like every single law has this negative
15.
Has this negative spin to it. Has this negative this every single law has this like negative connotation to it, where it's like positive or negative attention is better than no attention. And I'm like, well, okay, but like, what are you doing to get this? What are you doing to get this attention? Even if it's positive, attention, what did you have to do in order to gain this attention? You have to do something outrageous, like they're describing in the beginning.
I think like I generally agree with what you're saying. Like, obviously, fucking type of attention matters, but like it also depends on, I think, the level of power you have currently. Depending, like the level of your power currently, and the level of attention you get, kind of like mix. So if you have, I think when you get to a certain level, it doesn't matter if you have positive or negative attention. Like, I'm thinking of Trump, right? When Trump was in office and he was president, it didn't matter what came out on this nigga. It didn't matter what he said. It didn't matter what he did. Even now, they're struggling.
Yeah.
They're struggling to get him for shit that should have been fucking wrapped the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter, and he maintained his power, his polling, his cult following. He maintained all of that, no matter what he did. When he did things that his base hated, they still loved him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So to a degree, right? And then maybe it depends on maybe if you have a cult following, that's just how it is. But it might be some caveats to that. Now, obviously, for normal folk, don't be infamous.
Right.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to get famous. You don't want to be infamous.
I think this law probably applies to someone who is not in the celebrity space, right? Like,
I don't know.
I guess it's better to be considered than not considered. Like,
cost at all.
I'm
trying to think of the story that came with this one.
At least if you're being talked about in a positive or negative light, people are considering you, which I think when you get to like negative attention for Trump is probably more of a hassle than it's worth. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's probably like, God damn, like Diddy's sitting there like, damn, this negative attention. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it applies necessarily to powerful people. Once you get to that level of power, you don't want negative attention, because that brings scrutiny. Scrutiny brings investigations and home raids and shit, you know. So
Well,
accusations.
Yeah, it is.
So
you know that saying. I mean, I think this can apply to celebrities too, or people who have like the money and power status. Because like that saying in Hollywood, there's no publicity is there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yep.
Like, so even if you're in the news for a terrible reason, you're still being showered with attention.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like that speaks heavily to this message. Like, so I think it applies to celebrities too.
To your point, yeah, you might be right, Frank. To your point, Jonathan Majors, right? Like, he got a lot of negative attention. I think he'll bounce back. I think his career will resurrect. I don't think what he did was necessarily to the level where he cannot bounce back from it. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of that attention he got made him a little bit infamous, which might lend itself to him resurging his career, his acting career.
I think if he follows Law 16, which is use absence to increase respect and honor, then
stop jumping
he should
ahead.
be fine.
Well,
sorry.
I'm also trying to think like, does this book apply to Black people? Like,
strong point.
How much of it actually applies to Black
I'm almost ashamed I hadn't thought about that.
Economic status.
Look, we're jumping ahead, right? It's Juice's fault. Law 14: pose as a friend, work as a spy. I'm like, God damn, dog. Maybe this shit is the Sith handbook, man. Damn. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Like, damn.
That's a good point. Like, is this book for Black folk? I don't know. I can
see how great
some
men great historical men throughout history. I can see how they would have used some of these, these principles and applied them to wield power, to work.
Black men.
What has there ever been any? Has there ever been any economically powerful Black men?
Think about it.
Like,
think about it.
Has the now we just I said earlier that a lot of American ideology and culture comes from patriarchal European society.
Maybe
right?
in the church.
Like, was there any powerful Black men there? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. Robert Greene is a white male. So
well, I was just referencing the Jonathan Majors, thing about him, like, bouncing back.
I think this book is kind of
bouncing back, but like it just brings up the larger question of like this book was probably written for. I mean, it honestly seems like this book was probably written for white men in power. Maybe it's just maybe it's just a very early assumption. I haven't read the book, so pardon me on that. But like, it just seems to me that a lot of this is about taking power, right? And
all of the stories are of the bourgeoisie.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, of their classes.
So,
like all the stories are pulled from examples of bourgeois class.
Okay, so it was a fair assumption to make then, right? Like, so it's one of those things where it's like it's about taking power, right? And
managing the court.
Power has been taken from minorities. Power has been taken from people who don't have the same economic status as the people at the top, such as the bourgeoisie, right? Like, so it was just a question, a general question, but like, it just seems to me that it's not written for Black people.
Like, remember how Black people have to be presented in order to be accepted by white society is there's only a few ways a Black person can present themselves to be publicly accepted in American society and particular white society. And those ways are usually like buttoned down, like super respectful, super friendly, with a big smile.
Yep.
Right.
Well, appearances matter. And I remember watching an interview with George R.R. Martin. That's the guy who wrote Game of Thrones and The Song of Ice and Fire, and he wrote some other books, but that he's most well known for authoring Game of Thrones. And they asked him, because they were talking about Tolkien with the Lord of the Rings trilogies and all that, why are there not more people of color in your books, in these fantasy books that you guys are writing? And he said, well, to be honest with you, I think it's because these books are written by white males. Like, we write about who we identify with and who we.
True.
But so, and I'm saying that to say that Robert Greene was a white male. So it makes sense that he would write this book with the ideal or the idea to promote it to white males. But I think you have to pick through these laws. I don't agree with all 48 of these, but I do see some that can apply to my own person.
Yeah, definitely.
Life. You know, like obviously
minus
some of these are evil. You know, act as a friend, pose as a friend, act as a spy. That's evil. Like by just intention, right? Like you're deceiving me from the jump street. You know, so I don't agree with all of these, but I think that no matter the race or creed, you can pull from certain ones and see what. You know,
I mean, yeah, you can say that about a lot of things, though. You know, like I mean. It's a crazy example, but there might be some draw here. But like Andrew Tate, right? All the shit that he's preaching about, like how men.
Oh, he's definitely a 48 Laws of Power guy.
Oh, 100%,
absolutely.
100%. But it's like maybe by extension, Andrew Tate says some things that's really common. That's kind of common sense, right? Like be clean.
Wash your ass.
Be clean. Wash your nasty ass. You know, like present yourself a certain way. You know, and then he goes into the derogatory shit. Then you get any fucking bitch you want. You know,
you're right.
Like that, right? You know,
I saw something with him once, and I was with him. Man, take care of yourself. Hygiene. You know what I mean? Appearance. And then he says some crazy shit. You're like, well, goddamn, bro. Like,
right,
you know?
Right. Like, I'm like,
okay.
And I'm like, but you think some of the things that he's saying is common sense, right? But you know, there are some people that needed to hear that part, but then they follow him into the other stuff, and it's like, oh, you know, so
you kind of get
roped all in.
So, but I mean, by extension, I think like this is kind of the same thing, like you're saying, right? Like there's some things that you can definitely take from this that will be useful in your life, that can be useful in your life. But like there is definitely a negative connotation to a lot of the laws.
100%.
That I mean that if you're able to recognize it or you're able to view it as negative, then you know, it's up to you to decide what you want to do with that information. But like, it's still, you know, like of course, there's definitely like nuggets of stuff in here. But then,
is it negative? Are you telling me that Mace Windu didn't live by any of these 48 laws of power? Mace Windu didn't conceal his intentions.
He's a Jedi. He was a Jedi, I should say. So like, he was a Jedi, man. Like,
depends on what he had to do.
The Jedi are different, man. I never really rocked with the Jedi rules like that because Jedi, man, they're just like, I'm like, so you can't be neutral about everything. Come on, you know.
But you have to feel something. You villainize Anakin for having emotions. What the fuck, bro? Like that's what we do. Maybe you should have nurtured his emotions instead of telling him to.
Maybe you should have nurtured him as a child.
Yeah.
No, they should have just not accepted his ass.
True. No, they had to. He was so powerful, right?
They should have to the theory that you were telling me about. They should have not accepted him without Qui-Gon.
With this midichlorian count, you had to accept him because you'd never seen someone that powerful with that much potential in the Force, and you couldn't let him fall into evil hands. You know, like there was no Sith to fall into that they knew
anyway. So maybe they should have done a better job.
Maybe they never would have found him. Like. As far as we're aware, like Palpatine and fucking Plagueis, according to the books, had no idea he was around until fucking Qui-Gon brought him around.
Yeah, with that high midichlorian count, why didn't Palpatine sense him if he was so powerful? Why didn't they know about him?
Palpatine had his eye on him the second he walked in. Like,
well, I'm talking about from when he was a child. Like I Palpatine couldn't.
Oh, I don't know.
He was on Tatooine.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
a desert slave planet.
He could have kind of sensed something there. You know what I mean?
Nah, he was galaxies away, dude.
His midichlorian count was like so much higher than everybody else's. You know.
But I think it only matters if because of proximity.
Yeah. If you got
also like the ability to hone that skill. Like, I don't remember if it's canon, but I remember hearing before that like without training, like Jedi talent, like kind of like
Lapses.
falls away. Yeah. Like if it's not trained when they're young, if they're not like honed in their skill and how to use it and manipulate it, it kind of becomes like a latent like thing. And like
what was that?
And without like high stress or high like intensity that would like kind of make it erupt, you know, like normal powers, you know, then it's just like it's gonna be latent. And he may never have experienced any situation in which ever comes up. And even if he did, it might have been he's fucking dealing with a bunch of sand people, right?
Next cast, when we do the next 6 laws, next cast, that's going to be our full-time reference for this book is Star Wars, because it really does go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? It really does. Like,
true.
We can get a lot of examples of this from these 48 laws from Star Wars, man.
Yeah,
like I think, yeah. Do you think George Lucas read the 48 Laws of Power?
Hell yeah, he did.
Probably.
Every American like writer and author and person in Hollywood has read this book.
They're at least aware of it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Like I'm positive. I feel like it's reasonable to assume because, I mean, yeah. Oh, let me say one last thing. We should probably wrap up.
Did you guys see? They got a new Tales of the Jedi coming out. I think a new season.
Yeah, I didn't see the trailer yet. Is there a trailer?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a trailer.
I think it's Tales of the Empire.
Okay, yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, because who did I see? It was a Sith that I saw on there. Damn, I can't remember who it was on the picture. I saw it on Instagram.
Hope to explain Mirak and why he's a fucking ghost thingy in a shell. What's that about? But I was gonna say, like, as far as this book, we should remember that, like, well, you have to read the book, but when it goes to the stories, it's like important to point out that like the people in these stories didn't have 48 laws of power. These are kind of people who were like just behaved based on either their natural cunningness or their fucking psychopathy, right? So just keep that shit in mind.
Okay.
Definitely interested, man.
Yeah, I'll give it a read. I might be super fucking pissed by the time I'm done. I'll give it a read.
Yeah,
you gonna turn your lightsaber red, man.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if there's evil. If I had to put it on a percentage wise, I would say this book is more deceptive than evil, but I would say it's intentionally good or bad intentions. I would say this book probably has a 60-40.
I think it allows for evil.
It does allow for evil. Yeah. That's why I gave the edge to evil. It definitely has an evil overtone. Like, give into the power, give into to give into it so you can grab power. Yeah, it is bad because we've seen Star Wars. We know how this ends. Hey Frank, because we know how this ends. We've seen Star Wars, man. All right, we know this. We've seen this play out, so we know where this is going.
Anakin and his hubris. Thought he could jump over
in movie
disrespect to the high ground.
Well,
actually, Law 50 is the high ground. Always maintain the high ground.
Goddamn Star Wars references, man. All right, fellas, man. Yeah, man. It's been a good cast, man. 3 hours and 47 minutes. We almost made it to 4. We almost made it to 4. Yeah, it's 1:31 a.m. East Coast time when y'all see this. Whoever sees this in the future.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, man? My bad, Frank. We didn't do your MID asshole.
No. I didn't have the details to pin down on the one that I was gonna do, but don't worry about it. I'll try for next time. But this is cool too. This is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this is
I
fun.
like it.
This is fun.
What 42 more laws to go through?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We'll see.
But
all right, fellas, man. Any closing thoughts?
Hope everybody had a good holiday. If you celebrate that kind of thing.
Hey, y'all. My closing thoughts, y'all stay black,
Easter.
man.
Shit, yeah.
Stay black, man.
True.
Yeah.
I
Stay black.
totally forgot it was Easter, man. I totally forgot. Easter don't have the same, unless you're religious. Obviously, I'm not so much religious as I was, but Easter doesn't have the same flair as it had when I was younger, man. Remember the Easter egg hunts and all that? Well, I grew up Baptist, so we didn't know.
We had a birthday party, man.
Yeah, I didn't know, man. I know.
Oh, you heard people were pissed that like Easter Sunday fell on the same day as Trans Visibility Day.
Oh, that's right.
People were tripping.
There was like a whole like thing on Twitter about that actually.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, well, y'all boys stay black, man. Don't change.
Yeah, you too.
I'll try.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, let the rage flow through you.
Try my
Right.
best. I'm gonna download
best,
this
man.
book. I'm
Try
gonna
my
download this
damnedest
book.
to stay
I
black.
might have to do this book piecemeal because I'm gonna be like, fuck.
Yeah.
This fucking book. But all right, fellas, y'all be good.
All right,
John.
boys, man. Y'all be good,
Peace.
man. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us. I don't know what episode podcast this is, but yeah, thanks again, man.
All right,
Catch y'all next time.
Later.
Peace.
All right, fellas.
Later.
I just want to say that was